www.bestofamericapac.com.
Australia's National Gallery will return 3 9th and 10th century bronze sculptures to Cambodia after they were found to have been stolen.
These sculptures, very beautiful, very delicate, are over 1,000 years old, from the Cham Kingdom, which occupied much of central Vietnam and Cambodia. They apparently were dug up in a field in 1994, and it appears that they were then trafficked across the border to Thailand and ended up in the collection of a British art dealer and collector called Douglas Latchford. He then sold them in 2011 to the National Gallery of Australia for $1.5 million US.
The BBC's Michael Bristow. The Bank of England has raised its main interest rate to a fresh 15-year high as it tries to bring down persistently high inflation, a 0.25% increase in the rate. News and analysis, townhall.com. A shooting reenactment will take place at a Florida high school where 17 people died in 2018.
Ballistics experts will fire up to 139 shots inside Parkland, Florida's Marjorie Stone Douglas High School on Friday. The shooting reenactment is part of a lawsuit families of the victims and those wounded have filed against the armed guard at the school on the day of the shooting and his employer, the Broward Sheriff's Office. Deputy Scott Peterson said he didn't hear all the shots the day of the attack and couldn't pinpoint where they were coming from because of echoes. Peterson was acquitted in June of felony child neglect and other criminal charges, but the burden of proof is lower in a civil lawsuit. I'm Donna Water.
A Florida man sentenced to death for the brutal 1988 assault and murder of a woman set for execution today after dropping all of his appeals. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio. Yeah!
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to a morning without Mike Winters. I ain't he. That wouldn't be me. Mike Winters out. Today he's a little under the weather. Woke up, not feeling so good. Basically, he has a case of the coming out of both enders. I'll leave it at that. And so you got me. You got the Wish.com Mike Winters. It's like we have Mike Winters at home. The Mike Winters at home. I know. I'm fully aware. I'm not up to the snuff of the captain, but it's what you got on a Thursday morning. Hopefully your Thursday off to a relatively decent start. Loving the cloud cover we've been getting over the past couple of days. It's really made things a little cooler, but a lot more humid. I'm very, very tired of walking around covered in a thin layer of sweat. I'm just constantly moist. It's very annoying. But hopefully summertime is wrapping things up. We are getting close to that oh-so-glorious time of year that I talk about every single year. I'm talking about LST season. Long sleeve t-shirt season. You can keep your pumpkin spice lattes to yourself. I hold out for long sleeve t-shirt season, and we're almost there. It's just a matter of counting it down and getting there. Hey, Roy, I handed you the rundown. I'm going to need that back here in just a few minutes. Not right away, but just because I don't actually remember what I wrote down. Again, we are filling in for Mixmaster Mike. He'll be back inside your radios in the captain's chair tomorrow morning. But meantime, you got the bargain basement. Mike Winters, Sean Smalls filling in for you on this Thursday morning. Hopefully yours off to a relatively decent start. Roy, that rundown? Thanks, bud. Sorry. It's been a bit of a morning. My son had decided to... Thanks. Appreciate it. My son decided to throw a fit this morning and take all the time he possibly could to get up and get out the door. So it has been quite the challenge. This whole last week has been kind of interesting because I'm in sort of a bit of a holding pattern. I had to go through and make a bunch of repairs to my, I call it house because technically it's my house, my home, but yeah, it's a trailer. So I had to make a bunch of repairs to the trailer in order to keep it. But the good news is, as of this week, I'm officially an owner. It's technically my home, so I'm going to call it a home. I'm a homeowner. That's right. All I have to pay is the lot fees, and that has definitely simplified things when it comes to my living situation and my budget. But this is the place in which we find ourselves. The repairs have been pretty much done. By the way, I got to say a big old thanks to Miss Alex Wilt for stepping up and helping me get my house painted. She does that by trade, by the way. So if you're looking for a good house painter, Alex Wilt. She is part of the Roswell Community Little Theater's Is He Dead? And she'll be performing starting this weekend at the next weekend at the Roswell Community Little Theater. So if you want to see that show, it all starts 1 week from tomorrow at the Roswell Community Little Theater. Is He Dead? And we'll talk about that in the 9 o'clock hour when the folks from the Roswell Community Little Theater come out and make their appearance here. Hey, let me give you the rundown for today's show. Coming up here in just a few minutes, about 7:15 or so, we're going to be chatting with Ted Smith from the Walker Aviation Museum. Or actually, I'm going to replay the interview that Mike had with Mr. Ted Smith from the Walker Aviation Museum. That coming up here in the 7 o'clock hour, right about 7:15 or so. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, around 8:15, we're going to have replay the interview that Mike had with Chavez County Manager Bill Williams. They had a riveting conversation, and we'll be chatting with them about, or we'll be replaying that interview and getting into all the stuff happening out in Chavez County. More on that coming up in just a bit. And coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to sit down and chat with the folks from the Roswell Community Little Theater with Crystal and Amy. As I mentioned, the play Is He Dead is coming up 1 week from tomorrow. Now, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but I will say that after we wrapped up the house painting, I was dropping Alex off back home, and she said that she immediately had to go and start working on the set for the play. She told me what she was working on, but I feel like if I tell you what she was working on, it would spoil it, so I'm going to save it and let you check it out for yourself. But that coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, we'll be chatting with the folks from the Roswell Community Little Theater. Plus, of course, all your other hourly features, which, of course, include your Kim Commando Report this hour, Town Hall Business News, your SRN News Update, and whatever else comes across the hallowed desks here at 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Right now, at 11 minutes after 7 o'clock, let's pause and get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A shower or thunderstorm possible in the midday and afternoon hours today. We will get some sunshine as well. A little bit of humid air available. We'll be hitting the low 100s. A few clouds and low to mid 70s for the overnight hours. Looks like we'll hit about 105 for the afternoon high on Friday and sunny. Around 107 to 110 for the highs on Saturday and Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, 12 minutes after 7 o'clock and currently 74 degrees. Humidity at about 52%. Wind speed out of the northeast at about 5 miles an hour with a barometer of 30 inches and a dew point of 55 degrees. I know people are clamoring for that dew point. I'm going to blow this up to where I can read it because even though Mike is older than me, he's not nearly as nearsighted as I am. The clouds will continue through tonight because we got isolated showers and thunderstorms after 3 p.m., mostly sunny and hot, a high of 103. Winds out of the south 5 to 15 miles an hour. Your chance of rain is about 20%. That chance of rain continues tonight. Isolated showers, thunderstorms before 9 p.m., partly cloudy with a low of around 73 degrees. Winds out of the west 5 to 15 miles an hour, becoming south in the evening. Returning sunshine tomorrow, and boy howdy are we going to feel it into the weekend ahead. Sunny and hot with a high of 106 for tomorrow. Winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles an hour, becoming east later in the morning. For tomorrow night, mostly clear, dropping down to 74 for the overnight low. Sunny and hot at 108. 108 for your Saturday. Winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles an hour. For Saturday night, mostly clear, dropping down to 73 degrees. 104 for the high on Sunday. 101 for Monday. It looks like that's where we're going to hover for the next few days, at least until Wednesday, when another heat wave hits us, and we're back up to 108 degrees. But most of us parents won't be worrying about that because our kids are back in school starting Monday, which means, of course, we can get back to day drinking. 14 minutes after 7 o'clock, going to pause, pay a couple of these bills, and after these, we're going to replay our interview that Mike had with Ted Smith from the Walker Aviation Museum, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure we still have the donuts in the kitchen, or at least one donut in the kitchen from that interview. But we'll replay that coming up here in just a few minutes on a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
It's back to school time. It's a time for new beginnings and fresh starts, not only for students, but also for parents, teachers, and support staff. We are so thankful for all of those that work to educate the children of our community. We all need a fresh start from time to time. Maybe it's a new job or a new relationship. Maybe you feel like you're in a rut and need a new routine. Maybe you're stuck in a bad place, either of your own making or someone else's actions. In 2 Corinthians, Paul says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old is gone and the new is here." Christ can give you the ultimate and best new start. He takes us where we are, and if we come to him, he forgives us of all of our sins and gives us a second chance at a new beginning. At Country Club Road, we aren't perfect, but we are working to be what God wants us to be, thanks to the fresh start that he's given us.
Join us at the Country Club Road Church of Christ for worship at 10 a.m. on Sunday, located on the corner of Country Club and Washington in Roswell.
The Rehabilitation Center at Artesia General Hospital offers a variety of services led by experienced licensed therapists, including physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. Their multidisciplinary team provides a complete evaluation with the full support of your primary care provider to develop a custom plan to support your personal goals and recovery needs. These treatment plans help manage symptoms, educate patients and their families, and ultimately get back to the activities that bring you joy. Learn more at artesiageneral.com/rehab.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Did you know you share your birthday with at least 9 million other people in the world? Your birthday isn't feeling so special now, is it? Here's Mike Winters.
Hey, good morning. It is 25 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Walker Aviation Museum, Ted Smith back with us. Morning, Ted.
Right. How are you, Ted?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Sorry, I'm choking on that chocolate donut.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. You gotta have your tackling fuel for the day. So.
Well, when you get to my age.
Well, you know what? It's I think it's any age. We all get kind of. Oh yeah, you need the microphone. That one's dead. That one's yours.
Well, that was useful.
We do it like a press conference if you want. But for folks not familiar, the Walker Aviation Museum, it is home at the Roswell Air Terminal, the airport out here. That's where its home is. And it is a museum that is dedicated really to two things. One, the base where that airport currently sits, that was a Roswell Army Airfield initially, and then Walker Air Force Base. It was closed down in the late 60s, but it served during World War II as a training base. Pretty much if you were a bomber crew in World War II, odds are you probably spent some time in the sands of Roswell getting your training done. And then, of course, the other side is our area's history in the Cold War era with the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Of course, some of the early renditions of that were here at home in Roswell. They've since upgraded and have moved to bigger, badder, safer missiles that are in different places.
I'll tell you what, in regards to the Cuban Missile Crisis, Roswell was one of the very first bases to get the missiles.
Really?
And so it played a giant role in our national strategic ability.
So for that 8 days or whatever, they were
we're
very attentive.
Telling the Russians, if you shoot yours, we'll shoot ours. Well, ours were here. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
They rushed to get them into service, and the community fell in with it, and, they made those sites quickly.
Sure.
Of course, there was the accident where the crane fell in. But
yeah. Well, there was a couple accidents. None of them were explosion related. Part of the issue with those early missiles, they were liquid fueled.
Right.
It's very dangerous to fuel a warhead with liquid fuel. While it's just it's a dangerous environment. The later fuel cells they do. Think of NASCAR. Like NASCAR today, they have fuel cells in there where the fuel goes and it's like stores. It's way different than just you going to your gas station and putting gas in your tank. And so they use that, and it's interesting technology. But that was the dangerous part, really. It wasn't so much that we've got a 2-ton nuclear warhead sitting on this thing, but the solid fuel. Yeah, exactly. But you know what I'm saying? It's really safer than trying to do something that emits fumes and everything else like a gas.
Right. And that was our goal from the beginning with it. The Atlas missile was pre-existing. NASA put John Glenn into orbit on one. When the Air Force closed the Atlas program, they gave all of the missiles to NASA, and NASA shot the last one into space with a satellite payload in 1993.
Okay. So basically, all of the if all the astronauts on the Mercury missions, that's the same rocket.
I'm not sure. I'm from that generation. I should have that memorized.
Well, I know because John Glenn, they were part of the Mercury 7.
Right.
When they went to the Gemini program, I think they used a bigger rocket because that was a 2-person capsule. So that would
make a lot of sense.
So I'm guessing the Atlas probably the capsule they used for Mercury, whatever rocket they propelled that one in, which is a 1-man capsule. I bet that's the base you're talking about for the Atlas missile.
The Russians rushed theirs into service, and they were so accurate they could probably hit the planet, but they weren't sure where. Right? And they had lots of accidents.
And of course, with a nuke, you just have to be close.
Yeah.
You don't have to be that accurate.
Right. And so we needed to have something that we could be equal to them with.
Sure.
And it paid off at Missile Crisis. They didn't push their luck because they suspected our missiles could actually get there.
Sure. Well, and as an intel guy, I've told people this a couple times that they don't realize, like, when at the height of the Cold War, when we're talking to us and the Russians and we're building more missiles, that the height of that, but when the wall fell, when the Iron Curtain went down and all of that, we realized real quick how way ahead we were.
Yes.
Yes, they had equipment, but they didn't maintain it. They didn't
know how.
They had all these great MiGs, but the half of them were sitting on the ground broke because they weren't working. They have a space shuttle. It just sat in a hangar because they couldn't fund it to put it up in space or work on it.
The whole socialist communist system where government controls production, in the end it doesn't work. It turns out that it squelches innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why their spies spend so much time trying to get our technology, because since there's no profit motive to create the next widget,
sure,
guys just don't want to create the next widget.
Sure.
And the end result is they're always behind.
Well, you look at World War II and you look at Oppenheimer, this movie that just came out, and it said, we took the Germans that wanted money, not the Germans that were basically put in a gulag to say, work on this.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that, because the Russians built a special industrial city where they took their German scientists.
Okay.
And it was a little baby Germany in there.
So they really created like a whole town for them with their
right,
kind of like Alamogordo at one point when when the Germans were predominantly there at Holloman.
Right, and the results show our products worked, and theirs tended to blow up on the test ramp. You know.
Sure.
The fact that we had some missile explosions at the base have an awful lot to do with the fact that the missile, well, it was a rocket, and it was designed to put people in space with NASA. And it was our first stopgap. We needed a missile right now. Then put a warhead on it, and it's not how it was designed to be used. NASA has all week to get it ready for a launch, and in an emergency, you have to pump that thing full of fuel right now and get ready to shoot. And that's where the accidents came from.
Sure.
They just using it the wrong way.
Sure.
When NASA used them, they never had any trouble with them again.
Well, and that's why they train, though. And this is and this is for people that have never been in the military. You know, this is why they do the exercises. This is why you hear all these, playing war and all these things. Military, when you're not in war, depending on your career field, but when you're not in war, you're training for war. That is your job. So if you're a missile guy or a fighter pilot or a soldier that GI here, you spend your day training for that. So if you're infantry, then guess what? You're going to spend a lot of time in foxholes and crawling through dirt and running around, learning how to protect yourself in multiple different environments.
We had a visitor here at the museum who was here during one of the explosions, and he explained to me that they only happen during exercises, operational readiness exercises. Yeah.
And that's the training.
And they're flogging those kids to get them ready to shoot right now before the Russian missiles get here. And that's just not what that rocket was designed to do. The actual intermediate was the Titan, and it was also a liquid fuel rocket. And they stayed in service for quite a number of years, actually. What we were building was the Minuteman.
Yes, that was the end game, I guess you could say.
Right.
In the evolution of ICBMs, that's the end game.
Well, yeah, and we had that on the drawing board at the same time. But we wanted the perfect missile, and we got it. The Minuteman's still in service. And, I was born in 1960, and I'm pretty sure the Minuteman came into service in about the time the base closed.
Sure.
So it's...
Now, I'm guessing that they've probably upgraded over the years. So the Minuteman missile of the 1960s is not the same Minuteman missile of 2020.
No,
that would be my guess.
We're on the Minuteman 3.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of like fighters and everything. Like, we have F-16s. We've had F-16s since the 70s. But the F-16s from the 1970s are not the same as the F-16s from in today's current military, Air Force. Same with the B-52. That thing's been around forever. But if you think a B-52 from 1952 looks like a B-52 from 2022, not even close.
Not even. No. And it's just an awesome airplane, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it makes sense that those evolutions and things. I actually got to go. My in-laws lived in Tucson for a couple years, and so we go visit. They have a Titan missile silo out there that you can go visit, and I got a chance to go out to that museum, and it's matter of fact, it's a unique museum. It's one of the few museums in the country that they had to get permission from the Russians, because what happened was it's a Titan missile site. They've got a inert Titan in it.
Oh,
and they have the
overflight program.
They have the
open skies.
They have the portal half open. So when Russia's looking over, it looks like an ICBM's about to pop out. So the Russians are aware of it, and so it's one of those museums like, okay, that's just a museum, no big deal, no need to up the DEFCON level here.
And that's very fair.
Yeah,
the system is set up. That system is set up so that. How to explain it? There was an event once in the 70s, and this is off the internet, right? But I'm telling you, one of our command centers had an exercise with their computers. In the 70s, those were good computers, right?
For the time.
And around midnight that night, at that command center, it started showing Russian missiles inbound. And that
That might be scary.
That was scary.
Yeah.
Right? The poor old Navy captain at the Joint Staff who was on duty, I'm pretty sure he was having a significant emotional event.
Mm-hmm.
And, but it showed 100 missiles, and then it would show 4. And then it would show 30. And it would show them coming from different directions. It's a glitch. And what it was part of the exercise program.
Oh.
And it kicked in.
It's almost like War Games with the Matthew Broderick movie a little bit.
And that's why I bring this up. You remember the cranky general saying, I wouldn't trust this overgrown pile of microchips? Well, I'm mentioning this because we're not that stupid. We have human beings inserted at every level to make sure that never happens.
So that doesn't get confused for a glitch in the system.
Right.
Yeah.
We had multiple command centers. The very first thing the man did was check the over-the-horizon radar and the satellites. And guess what? There were no missiles in flight.
Sure.
So he called the Pentagon and said, hey, here's what I'm showing. I want to power down and reboot. Would you go ahead and take over? Again, none of the other command centers showed these missiles. They said yes. And when he rebooted, there was nothing there. Well, the Washington-Moscow hotline is actually a teletype.
Okay.
There are operators on either end, but so it's not cool like the movies, where the president picks up the phone and says, "Listen up, Boris."
Right. It is not the direct connect that one would think from Hollywood.
Right. And it's
the red phone.
Yeah, and it's a very old, stable technology is why we use it.
Well, that's just it. That's the some of our, the oldest tech, especially in communication and stuff. We were just talking about ham. That's why when ham radio is always going to be a thing, because when the world goes to a pot or a disaster happens, there's usually one form of communication that's going to work in all that muck. Ham radio.
Thanks for leading into that. I'm in the Pecos Valley Amateur Radio Club here in town.
Yeah.
And, if you've ever been interested, do it. Come join us.
Oh yeah,
we actually have talked to passing space stations from here.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
It is very cool. Yeah, we've had Jim Tucker on a few times, and I'd love to get, yes, part of it's having fun and talking to people across the planet and all that, but the bigger role is at events and things. These are the folks that are in the background watching out for stuff. If there's a run, or like when we do the Tour de Outro, these kind of runs and things, ham radio guys are out there just keeping an eye, keeping communications open. If somebody has, that's, yes, they love to have fun and do that stuff, but they really serve a role. And then a lot of times if there's a missing person in the mountains or something like that, the ham guys are out there being that form of communication for all the search and rescue folks. That's
we take for granted that we're going to have electricity, and we take for granted that we're going to have telecommunications.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is our ground-based telecommunications, our microwave links, they're very few coming in and out of here, and then the satellites, the rest of it. So if you get a bad storm and you lose this for a while, ham radio steps in as emergency communications. We have a station down at one of the fire stations, so that we can provide all the communications for the city if they lose theirs.
If others go down. Yeah.
Right, and it's not like we're intending to do this permanently and forever, but
till there's something better, this is what we got. And
right,
so, yeah.
And it makes the hobby redeeming. The original hobby was the geeks of 1902. The kids who would be the computer kids today,
sure,
and all that.
Yeah.
These boys had found electricity was pretty new.
Okay.
And they would get out on the farm, and there was a guy who had a magazine called Electrical Experimenter named Hugo Gernsbach.
Okay.
And Hugo was a man from Luxembourg who came to the States, had a whole bunch of patents in electricity. And the kids at the time, the young forward-thinking people, were sure that this electricity was going to change the world. When you consider they went from candles to you're talking on the radio today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was wow, and it happened fast, and really fast. In just 20 years, every town had radio stations.
That invention almost single-handedly changed how we live our lives. That you can argue. I mean, there's certain milestones in history, and obviously most people will think the internet for us here, when the internet that changed the world, but another milestone was that moment with electricity. But prior to that, everyone's got candles getting around, or work's done because it's getting dark, and then electricity came in. And
the next thing you knew, you had farm kids deciding to make an antenna and a radio because they saw an article in Electrical Experimenter.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Hugo Gernsback's the father of science fiction. So many people were interested in what could be coming in the future that he started publishing science and fiction magazines where people were writing articles about their fantasies about the future, and they went straight to what life would be like in space.
Okay. So they were probably some of the early versions of those amazing
stories.
Yeah, the comic book, a lot of the stories that the kids would read in the 40s, 50s and stuff. These were probably the early versions of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they were imagining all sorts of things that we have today.
Before we actually went to space, there was all kinds of imagination.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a foregone conclusion of these kids that we'd find a way. Come on, let's face it. You cannot go to space. There's no air. Right?
Yeah.
But guess what? Those guys thought about it, and one day they got jobs at NASA, and they figured out how to bring the air with them.
Sure. Well, that's the great part of humanity. That's the part where you why is humanity great? That's why. Because we always want to innovate and create and push boundaries a little bit. That's a good thing.
Yeah, these kids were on farms, and they didn't have antennas, They were using barbed wire fences.
Well, that's farm ingenuity. That's just great. And I'm not trying to get all philosophical here, but for those nerd guys to be stuck in the middle of nowhere as farmers
and come up with this.
Yeah, well, it creates, because let's face it, when you are desolate, you have to be ingenuitive, and you have to, when things break and there ain't a part for it, you got to find a way to make it work anyway. And so when you take that experience on top of, oh wait, I'm really good at engineer or whatever, the science and all that involved. Like you wonder, could they have done it if they were city boys? That's what I'm trying to say. Would they have to have been as innovative in getting things?
I think it came more from the country.
Yeah.
But it was all over the city as well.
Yeah.
And that caused problems.
Sure.
But in fact, these kids built a radio station, and they did a really good job. And it put out a lot of extra static, and they jammed the Navy during World War I. And in New York City,
worked too well.
And the FBI was certain that it was a secret German jammer station, and those poor boys had to go to the interviews, and said, no, honest,
we're just some dumb kids in the middle of nowhere, and we love to have fun with this stuff.
Yeah, they were on a rooftop, and
they were almost up for espionage charges, huh?
Yeah. But,
did they give him a job afterwards?
You know what? That's how it went for them.
Yeah. Now they realize they're just some kids, and wait a minute. What can you do for us?
Well, the FCC gives the garbage frequencies to ham. Always has. And then the ham guys do something really cool with it.
Yeah, and then they want it back.
And they take them back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But these amateur guys are the guys who experiment, and that's why we get to have these frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
The FCC recognizes the value of folks tinkering on the farm. And all kinds of, the frequencies we're on right now were not used because they were short range. They didn't see any value in them.
Right.
And the ham guys made frequency modulation work, and guess what?
FM radio became a thing.
Yeah, and it's owed to a teenager somewhere who's thinking, well, if I cross this wire and that wire.
But here's the thing, too, and I don't want to turn it on the radio, but there's still, I know AM radio stations are kind of going the way of the dodo, and we have one, but there'll always be a role for AM, too, because AM can do things FM can't.
Absolutely.
And that's, like AM stations have to power down at night. If they don't, they're because the way the signal works, it's like on a grid. And in theory, if you don't power down at night, anybody that's on the same grid as you can hear your station. So that's why sometimes if you ever listen to AM radio in the middle of the night, and next thing you know, you pick up a station that's in Montana or just hundreds of miles away, it's because that was a station that didn't power down, and you're on their grid and you picked it up. And if there's an actual frequency in your local area, that it's going to get bled out. And so that's why the FCC comes in, don't let you do that. But the AM works that way where FM does not. That's why you lose AM under a bridge where you don't in an FM signal.
Yeah. It's all around cool. And I was in a town that had a hurricane sweep through, and The fire department didn't have comms, the works. They had no electricity. They couldn't bring the doors up in the fire station to respond.
Oh, wow.
They had an emergency generator, but it was inside, and they couldn't get inside. And it was a ham guy that solved the problem. Not me. I got a call out to a ham guy in Texas and asked him, how would you handle this? And he explained to me that he would call a welder. The guys with those big Lincoln welding sets.
Oh, yeah.
They're little generators, too.
Oh.
So they got a welding set guy out, and he plugged into their building, and then the fire department went into service.
Nice.
And that's, ham guys learn that.
Yep.
Oh, I want to finish up on the underground thing.
Yes.
I
just saw the time. I was like, man, we just zip right through this thing.
Yeah. The hotline with the Russians. Well, when this event happened, Strategic Air Command went on to alert immediately.
Okay.
Just to be safe. Well, lights came on at our missile silos everywhere. And the Russians called up and asked, what's going on?
Hey, now, what y'all up to up there?
Because we tell the Russians when we're going to have an exercise so we don't have a mistake.
Right, so then
And they do the same. And this was not a scheduled exercise. And the Russian president wanted to know if he had done something to offend us and how he could get this fixed right now. Okay? And that's what, and the movie was, War Games was, I'm looking for the phrase and it's not with me right now, was a warning, for sure.
Sure.
A cautionary tale.
Sure.
And a good one. But the public needs to know that we don't run those risks.
Yeah, it's you look at war games, you're like, okay, in theory that's possible, but
no Skynet.
It's not that easy.
No Skynet. I mean, we knew from the very start. It's a machine. A computer's a machine, and they break down.
Sure.
And we have two people, not just one, at every level of this. Even the guys who press the button down in the missile silo. Oh, there's two of them. They have to do it together.
And they get authentication codes, and it's a whole procedure on a nuke there. So.
Oh yeah. And those guys, how to explain? They have something called the Personnel Reliability Program.
I know all about the PRP.
Yeah.
Having been a weapons troop in the Air Force, I never served at a nuke base, but had I been, I would have been put in PRP.
Yeah. If you go to the dentist and you're in the PRP, you're one of the two people at any one of these levels, then you're off duty. You don't get to go be by the button.
Yeah.
If you're having marital problems, you're expected to step up and say, look, Janet and I are,
anything that makes you unstable, they don't want you around
potentially.
Yeah, potentially unstable. Even if you took NyQuil, they're like, no, you can't work. You can't be here until your cold's over, and you have to get a waiver from your doctor and all that stuff.
You absolutely have to have two people.
Yeah.
And down in those missiles, those Air Force guys have pistols.
Yeah.
It's literally to shoot the other guy. If he gets stupid and decides to start World War III, the other guy's there to kill him and make sure he doesn't screw America.
Yeah.
Just because he's mad at Janet.
Exactly. That's how. If I remember right, when I did the Titan missile tour, I want to say they worked in a crew of 3 in the Titan missiles. I don't know if Minuteman's the same, but here's the thing. There's the one in charge who's kind of, let's face it, he's like a lieutenant. He's pretty young, but that's the one in charge. And then the other two were generally 2-stripe, 3-stripe airmen. And so these are 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids, and they were put down in these holes to do it's an amazing thing to think about when at the big thing when you think about really 3 20-something kids are down in a hole and they're the line in the sand for
those teams are pretty tight.
Yep.
They're and the school they go to, my goodness, the missile schools are very hard.
Yeah, they were the same training area that I was at Shepherd there. So
are we burning through time?
Yeah, we're about 7:51, so we might have to do.
Let me say something real quick.
Yes.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, you know, we wouldn't exist without the facilities that you let us lease.
Yeah.
And we signed our new contract through General Lanford at the airport.
Okay.
And
you locked in for...
And by the way, the airport has a couple things going on that the people just know. I know you don't think of visiting the airport as a local tourist attraction for you to do, but number one, they're test opening their bar.
Mm-hmm. Food's great over there, by the way. If you don't, you know, I matter of fact, over a couple weeks ago, I had family in town, and so we had to be up there early, and yeah, we grabbed burritos and everything. And
Reggie's back on staff.
Yeah, it was delicious.
The best.
It was great.
The other thing is they put up a selfie wall for people passing through who don't have a chance to come downtown and see the
aliens and all that.
Yeah, they have a big old honking alien on the wall, and people can come take their selfie. It's kind of cute. You should see it.
Yeah.
And take a selfie if you get a chance.
I've seen a few locals on Facebook already take their pictures.
Really?
There. I've seen a few Facebook photos. Yeah.
Visitor Center is very good to us, and we're thankful. I want to say thanks again because I get calls all the time at the museum. People asking if we're going to be open. They want to come out and see us.
Great.
And Chamber of Commerce always. That's everything I can imagine. But we're talking about nuclear war again.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do Operation Bingo next time. We're going to save this for next time. We keep getting sidetracked.
Yeah.
But here's a thing I do want to point out for folks too. Always looking for volunteers to serve in various capacity. They've got some great members on the board right now. Ted, I think you're the most recent addee to the board, right? You
think so? Yeah.
I think so in the last year or so. But they're always looking for a few other folks that if you have an interest or a passion, maybe you're in the military, maybe you weren't, maybe your family was, maybe if you just have an interest, love to have you be a part of that. Always looking for more volunteer docents and things, because if we get more docents and things, more than just Ted and Robert can hang out, and Bob, and then they can take a day off every now and then.
By the way, we're getting a lot of visitors right now. People that fly in just to go see that little museum, not to see Roswell on the whole. End of life kind of visits.
People that chewed some dirt here and spent some time there,
right.
and want to share
their
that.
grandkids around to show them where they were, and Roswell was really cool, and they liked the assignment, and they want folks to know. A man came from Austin a few days ago and spotted the beauty parlor chair in the museum.
Okay.
And it turns out that he's in the family that owned that beauty parlor.
No kidding.
And he wants to bring them out from Austin. And I told him, well, call.
Yeah.
And we'll ask the press to come out and give you some coverage.
That'd be cool.
And
family, family memories for his family. Yeah.
Well, exactly. And that's what this is. This is our museum here in Roswell. The town, there was so much civilian employment at the base. So many people retired, stayed in community.
It was the way of life for the people that lived here. It was their fabric, the fabric of society in the 60s, and 50s and 40s and at that base,
Yeah, sometime we need to talk about the atomic cocktail.
Note to self. We'll put that on for the list for the next time. Atomic cocktail. One more thing I want to mention before we go. Check out the website for Walker Air Force Base. It's wafbmuseum.org. And there you can go. The Donate Now button's back working again.
Ta-da.
So if you'd like to help out financially, that's a great way to do that. And, of course, don't forget, if you'd like to come and tour the museum and see everything, and it works around the flying schedule. So if you're usually around, you get there about 10:30, 11 till about 1-ish. That's usually a pretty good window weekdays to catch the museum open. But call if you want to make special arrangements, or if you want to have a youth group or any kind of group do something there.
Lots of homeschoolers.
Homeschooling. And don't forget, we talk about the history side. We didn't really touch on the STEM this time. We'll have to catch that next time. But if you want to be a pilot, you could actually start your training by just coming and visiting the Walker Aviation Museum and learn a little bit about. They've got a trainer right there that is. It's an arcade game. It's a full flight simulator trainer. You could fly about 1,000 different aircraft on airports all over the world with that thing.
Oh, here's one. I'm sorry, I'm running out of time, but you got to know this.
Yes.
The Marshal Service had a plane come in.
Really?
For maintenance.
Okay.
Con Air.
The Con Air, huh?
Yeah, that's the 737.
As soon as you said the maintenance, I was thinking Con Air when you said it, and then you said it. I was like, All right, because I was going to make a joke about, did you see Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, I asked him if they're in cages in the back, and he said, no, they don't let them do that.
No.
FAA, but
it looks so much better in the movie.
Yeah. The pilot said he's seen a lot of people cry, triple murderers who've never been on a plane.
And they scared of the plane and the planes?
And he says that's really ironic.
It is, isn't it? But it's all about life experiences sometimes, even for people you wouldn't expect. You're like, really? All the heinous stuff? The plane bugs you? Okay. It is what it is. Ted, as always, thank you for visiting. We love our stories, love stuff, and we look forward to next month when we got them. And folks, come out, visit the museum. Come if you get a chance, talk with Ted about some of those stories of family. It seems like it's almost a weekly basis now where a family comes in and you hear stories of a serviceman or servicewoman that spent some time here, and they're showing their grandkids and their kids, what they did when they were in the military or when they were here in Roswell. So it's really cool.
And that's how we found out that the runway was 54 inches deep, solid cement, because a man from the community who was a surveyor on that project came in and told us how deep it was. And we were trying to figure that out forever.
And he was like, oh, yeah, I was here when they... Maybe that's the thing. Maybe next time you get some of those through, maybe we can get I know it's probably have to get Juliana Halverson involved, but maybe record a little interview or a little something talking about what they did at their time here and all that, just to preserve it.
And we have their phone numbers.
Preserve it for just for history's sake. I think that'd be a kind of a cool thing.
It is.
Yeah. So
it is.
And then years later, you hear these stories and use them. It's like, oh, one time, and here's so-and-so who served during that time. So next time.
Now your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. On Tuesday, emergency crews responded to the report of a fire in Crooked Canyon on the Guadalupe Ranger District, Lincoln National Forest. The fire originated on National Forest land and burned about 30 acres. Responders from Eddy County, Guadalupe Ranger District, Smoky Bear Hotshots have now taken over the scene. Things have calmed down now, but crews have remained in the area these last 24 hours as they keep the edges secure and extinguish hot spots. The New Mexico Oil and Gas Association is giving away free ultimate backpacks to 5 lucky New Mexico students. This year's backpacks will include an iPad, AirPods, school supplies, and a pizza party to celebrate with your class. To enter your student in the ultimate backpack giveaway, just go to nmoga.org. The deadline is Monday, August 14th. If you need more details, email joevigil@nmoga.org. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Generation Z, those born in the mid-90s through 2010, have found a new phone to obsess over. And here's a hint, it's not an iPhone. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by T-Mobile. Their advanced network now goes farther than ever before. Visit T-Mobile.com/55 today. We all know what a smartphone is. And you might think if there are smartphones, there must be dumb phones. And you'd be right. Dumb phones are the generation of phones before the iPhone. They can be flip phones or Nokia-type phones that look like traditional wireless house phones. Regardless, modern versions of these phones are being snapped up by Gen Zers who are tired of all the smartphone screen time. They're being manufactured brand new with 5G, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi hotspots all built in. Companies like Punkt and Light are the major manufacturers. Their customers say they're just tired of constantly checking social media and having friends tracking them all day and night. They just want a phone. That's it. Just a phone. And to get more tech smarts, be sure that you sign up for my free daily newsletter. You can get it right now at getkim.com. We've all picked up the call and heard. We're calling to let you know that your car's warranty expired. For those who don't know, these calls are often used to steal your personal information. And sorry to burst your bubble, but that includes the ones saying you've been selected as a winner of a free cruise. So how do you stop them? With RoboKiller, of course. RoboKiller harnesses the power of artificial intelligence to block up to 99% of unwanted calls, including robocalls and scammers. Did you know that the average phone scam victim loses $1,500? This is serious business. And with RoboKiller, spammers can't just change their number to reach you. RoboKiller examines the audio of each call to identify threats. And with customized call blocking, you only get the calls you want. See why millions rely on RoboKiller. Download the app from the iOS or Google App Store and get 20% off with promo code KIM20. That's code KIM20 for 20% off at RoboKiller. Download the app on the iOS or Google App Store today.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. There are 293 ways to make change for $1. Try all 293 on the guy who keeps borrowing money from you. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 8 minutes away from 8 o'clock. Let's get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A shower or thunderstorm possible in the midday and afternoon hours today. We will get some sunshine as well. A little bit of humid air available. We'll be hitting the low 100s. A few clouds and low to mid 70s for the overnight hours. Looks like we'll hit about 105 for the afternoon high on Friday and sunny. Around 107 to 110 for the highs on Saturday and Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thanks for the good news, Steve. Currently 74 degrees around Roswell Way, or 23 centigrade if you're fancy about it. Humidity is about 52% with wind speed out of the northeast at about 5 miles an hour. Barometer at 30.10 inches with a dew point of 55 degrees. Just in case you're planning on taking that schooner out on the water later today. Looking at mostly sunny skies, partly sunny skies, with isolated showers and thunderstorms after 3 p.m. Mostly sunny otherwise, a high of around 103. Winds out of the south 5 to 15. There's a chance of rain of about 20% for your Thursday. For tonight, isolated showers, thunderstorms before 9 p.m. Partly cloudy, a low of around 73 degrees. Winds out of the west 5 to 15 miles an hour, becoming south in the morning. Chance of precip is about 20%. That was a hard pee-pop. Friday, we're looking at sunny skies, 106 for the high. Winds 5 to 10 out of the south. Mostly clear and 74 for the overnight low. Back up to sunny skies and 108 for your Saturday. Mostly clear and 73 for your Saturday night. 104 for Sunday. And we pretty much stay in triple digits. I'm going to say it throughout the entire rest of the summer is what it's looking like. I think we've pulled off every single day since it's officially been summer in the 100s. And if that's the case, that's the first time it's ever happened since I've been a Roswell resident. 101 for the high on Monday, 104 on Tuesday, and then 108 degrees on Wednesday. The good news is it's only 101, and I say only 101 on Monday because it's mi cumpleaños. Monday is my birthday, so I expect an ice cream cake. If you're listening, Thomas, make it happen. 5 minutes away from 8 o'clock. Let's pause and get you up to date with your Wall Street Business Report.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bill Alexander. Fitch Ratings has downgraded the United States government's credit rating, citing rising debt at the federal, state, and local levels, and a steady deterioration in standards of governance over the past 2 decades. Wells Fargo said it may commit $60 million to Concordance, a nonprofit organization that helps workers with criminal records re-enter the workforce. The bank is focused on providing financial support to the program, but it could consider hiring individuals with criminal records in the future. American Airlines is in talks with plane makers Airbus and Boeing over a new narrow-body jet order. It's reported that the airline was in talks with the companies to order at least 100 jets. Kraft Heinz missed quarterly sales estimates on Wednesday as inflation hit. Customers bought fewer packaged meals and condiments, discouraged by higher product prices. For the Wall Street Business Report, Bill Alexander, Washington.
Oasis Computers has been Roswell's trusted source for home and small business computers for over 30 years, and they continue to be your best resource for computer repairs, operating system upgrades, web root managed antivirus, special orders, and more. Oasis Computers is now open from 8 to 1, Monday through Friday to better serve you. Service calls by appointments and after-hour appointments are available too. Stop by Oasis Computers at 1703 North Garden or call or text 575-625-9141 for even faster service.
Grab your dancing shoes and head to the Liberty in Roswell for Country Dance Night, Friday, August 4th, featuring the Colt Gibson Band. With special guest, Fabian Romero. Doors open at 6. Show starts at 7:30. Get tickets at thelibertyinc.com. Don't miss Country Dance Night with the Colt Gibson Band, Friday, August 4th, 6 p.m. at the Liberty in Roswell.
Let's face it, guys, we're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The U.S. Treasury once considered producing donut-shaped coins. They instead decided to go with coin-shaped donuts. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. 2 minutes away from 8 o'clock on a Morning Without Mike Winters. Stick around. Coming up next hour, we're going to replay the interview that Mike had with Bill Williams, Chaves County Manager. Get you up to date on all things happening in and around the county. And it's been a busy season. We're coming off the heels of the Chaves County Fair last week and all the festivities that happened therein. But we'll replay that interview with Bill Williams coming up here in just a few minutes. And by the way, if you missed any portion of the program today, you can always check it out in its entirety over at ksvptv.com. Just click on the Mornings with Mike Winters tab, and you'll be treated to the show in its entirety. You can even jump in live and take part in the chat. We actually play our show over on Facebook as well, so you can jump in that chat and be a part of the interactive experience of a Morning Without Mike Winters. You can really feel it's like POV. It's like VR. You can feel like you're in the show. If you make a funny enough comment, I might even bring it up on the air. So, roll the dice, see what happens. But stick around. Coming up here in just a few minutes, the replay of the interview with Bill Williams, Chaves County Manager. That coming up next hour on A Morning Without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Stay tuned.
Roswell's home for talk radio is 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Arguing there's no way he could get a fair trial in Washington, D.C., former President Trump would like a change of venue for his trial on conspiracy and obstruction charges. Mr. Trump suggesting that West Virginia might be a suitable location. Correspondent Eric Tucker says former president due in court later today to answer the charges he faces for challenging the outcome of the 2020 election.
We're expecting former President Trump to fly into Washington in the hours before his arraignment. He's expected to show up in court where he's likely to be booked and processed.
A process that probably will not take very long. Mr. Trump's lawyers say their client was simply exercising his right to constitutionally protected political free speech. A couple of Republicans in Congress, Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, are once again calling for defunding the office of Special Counsel Jack Smith, who they accuse of conducting a political witch hunt against Mr. Trump. Some tense moments on Capitol Hill yesterday afternoon. All three of the Senate office buildings were hurriedly evacuated after a caller reported shots fired in the area.
We found no confirmation that there was an active shooter and that this may have been a bogus call.
U.S. Capitol Police Chief Tom Ainger saying there were no shots fired, no one was hurt, no gunman was found. A death sentence has been recommended by the jury for Robert Bowers. He killed 11 people in a massacre at a Pittsburgh synagogue in 2018. It's up to the presiding judge to pronounce sentence. That's expected later today. This will not help gas prices at all. Saudi Arabia says it will extend by a month its 1 million barrel per day cut in oil output. On Wall Street, the Dow down 70 points, the Nasdaq trading 1 point higher, the S&P 11 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Russian shells fall on a landmark church in Ukraine.
Russian forces unleashed 2 rounds of strikes on St. Catherine's Cathedral in Kherson, wounding several people and setting the church ablaze. The Kherson Church, dating from 1781, is one of the city's most notable buildings. It once was the burial spot for Prince Grigory Potemkin, a favorite of Russian Empress Catherine the Great. The remains were removed last year while the city was still under Russian occupation. Russian forces withdrew from Kherson last November in the face of a Ukrainian counteroffensive. I'm Karen Chamas.
China's internet watchdog, the Cyberspace Administration of China, has laid out regulations aimed at curbing the amount of time that youngsters spend on their smartphones. Only apps or platforms deemed suitable to the physical and mental development of minors will be exempted. News and analysis, townhall.com. The government is going after an outfit accused of a range of shady practices affecting thousands of car and truck owners.
The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is suing USASF Servicing, the financial arm of a chain of auto dealerships found mostly in the South, alleging the company committed a laundry list of illegal practices like disabling borrowers' cars, double billing customers, and illegally repossessing vehicles. The Bureau says that USASF incorrectly disabled vehicles roughly 7,500 times when a customer was not in default, and disabled at least another 1,500 vehicles when the company told the customer it would not do so. The Bureau is seeking millions of dollars in refunds for thousands of USASF customers. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The Bank of England has hiked interest rates for the 14th time in a row to a fresh 15-year high. It's a quarter-point increase. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The deuce.
Of A Morning Without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. That's right, folks. I ain't he. That wouldn't be me. Mixmaster Mike Winters. A little under the weather this morning, and he is off. Of course, he's got the whole house to himself this morning. It's as the teachers have reported back for duty. The school year is drawing to a close, kids. I'm sorry, but it's bound to happen. Summertime, wrapping up. School year is coming to a start. Now, some kids I know are pretty excited about it. I know my kids are very excited. They've had their adventures over summer. We went swimming. They took some trips and went out of town and stuff. But my kids are very social. They crave the people around them, and yeah, so it's kind of been miserable. I am so tired of hearing the phrase "I'm bored." You know what I got when I said I was bored when I was a kid? Chores. That's what I got. But if I want to give my kids chores, it's basically me telling them every step of how to do it.
You should make them do your taxes.
I should make them do my taxes. You're absolutely right. I feel like they would probably get done faster than I would, but probably with a few more mistakes.
That's what I'm going to do when I have kids. The first thing I'm going to do is teach them how to do my taxes.
Just teach them QuickBooks. Give them the tools. And
that way they can do my taxes, so I don't have to.
I like it. Here's a quick tip. Stay single income for as long as you can, and by that I mean yourself only having one job. If you get married, that's dual income, and that's different. But only have one job for as long as possible. And if you're going to take a second job, make sure that second job also takes taxes out, because that complicates things. It's a whole new stream of whatever that I have to navigate, because I have to report my taxes quarterly and pay said taxes based on additional income. Tain't fun. Something came up in the office yesterday, and it triggered something I read online. Let me see if I can pull this up here. There was a Reddit section called "Does Anybody Else?" That's the name of the Reddit page. Basically, people go online and list weird things that they do to see if it's that weird of a thing and if other people actually do it. And one of the things on this list is, and I want to see if this is something that happens to you, because it definitely happens to me. Do you ever come across like a distinct smell that takes you back to a childhood memory, but you can't actually pinpoint what it actually is?
Yes.
Sense memories is what they call them. You get those?
Yeah.
It's insane to me. Like, I'll get sense memories to moments that I'm like, oh, that's what they were doing. Like the first time I ever smelled, trying to think how to put this. The first time I ever smelled the smoke of a now recreationally legal drug in the state of New Mexico, I immediately had a sense memory to my childhood.
Takes you back to your childhood?
It took me straight back to my childhood, and I was like, oh my God, it all makes so much sense. They were high the whole time I was coming up. Like it like clicked in my head. There's other ones too, like the smell of a new Trapper Keeper. Now, good luck finding a Trapper Keeper these days, but that new vinyl, the new paper, school supplies in general, that smell. Like if you go into Walmart and go into the school supply section and just give it a good sniff. Mm-hmm. Now, right now, we're in that weird transition to like fall time. Like the stores are starting to vaguely smell like cinnamon, which I like, but it also covers up other smells. But if you go to the school supply section of the Walmart right now, you're going to smell what I'm smelling. It's that new school supply smell. And that always takes me back to it. Not even school in general, but specifically the second grade. I don't know why. I can't fathom why. But the second grade of elementary school, of course, is the memory I always think of when I smell new school supplies. It's the weirdest thing, and I can't figure out why. But
okay. You kind of reminded me of that 21 Pilots song. I wish I could make a candle out of it and sell it.
I'm telling you.
I wish I'd probably only end up selling one.
Right? I'm like that though. Because I was blind, well, legally blind for most of my life. I've learned to like attune my other senses. Like my ears are super sharp. We've been over this. I tend to eavesdrop around the office whenever possible. Although the air conditioner has made that a little challenging. You guys talking in your hushed tones in here, I'm having to kind of lean more towards the door to pick up the conversation. But my ears are sharp and my nose is super sharp. So I guess I'm a bloodhound. I don't know. No. That's basically what it is. I got super sharp ears and a super sharp nose.
I call you Daredevil because
I like it.
Because you're practically blind.
Because I can get around just with my ears. That's right.
Did they really have to hit us over the head with the back to school stuff though? Like,
I feel like it was.
Since I don't go to school anymore, it's like, you know.
Now, yeah, you're newer to the whole back to school thing, and you're also once you hit parenthood, you kind of once back to school season hits, and it's weird. It's like you go ahead and enjoy summer. We're in the summertime season. Enjoy June. The second July 1st happens, it's like, oh my God, school season. People start panicking, and that's when the backpack giveaways, and you're going to get it a lot worse when you're in radio, because we do things a week in advance so we can get things ready for the radio so that other people know about it. So you hear about it a lot sooner. It's the curse of knowing.
Well, no, I've always known about it ever since I grew up. It's always like back to school, like that since July. And it's like, why?
Because
I don't want to know about it.
I'll tell you what it is. There's a lull in holidays. There's a lull in reasons for retailers to have a display and have a sale. So you go, 4th of July, it's summertime, it's popsicles, it's fireworks, it's celebrate independence. And immediately after the 4th of July, there's this lull. That's why you're starting to smell the holidays. That's why you're starting to smell cinnamon in all the stores, because they're already putting up their fall time decor.
Yeah.
It smells like I walked into Walgreens yesterday. I walked into Walgreens, and it smelled like Hobby Lobby. I was like, there's cinnamon somewhere in this building, and a nutmeg, and all kinds of, it's fall time, and it's like sort of creeping its way in. But as I said earlier, everybody else can keep their pumpkin spice lattes and all their other fall time stuff. My one indicator that we are officially in that season, long sleeve t-shirt season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's coming. I love my long sleeve
t-shirts.
That's it. Fall time is perfect long sleeve t-shirt season because it's not cold, but it's not this anymore. It's not triple digits anymore.
I've heard of a long sleeve shirt, but not a long sleeve t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like
that's it's sort of the term that's birthed itself over the last like decade or so. But yeah, it's a long sleeve because you got a long sleeve shirt that could be a sweater or a sweatshirt, which is thicker material.
Yes.
But if you've got a long sleeve tee, it's thin. It's t-shirt material, but longer sleeves.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not a specific reason I'm super into long sleeve tees, other than the fact that I found a selection of long sleeve t-shirts that really looked good on me, and I started. Me and my best friend actually started wearing similar long sleeve tees, and so for the last 3 years, I've celebrated unofficially long sleeve t-shirt season.
You know, one of those smells that brings you back is I went to Albuquerque recently, and they have a comic book store
right
there, and that smell, just like the comic book smell, is something that brings me back to my childhood.
It's similar to library smell. Like we had when I lived in Medill, Oklahoma, we had this. It was a cute little kitsch library. It was right next to the police station and right across the street from the Head Start that I went to, which was, funnily enough, used to be the sheriff's office. So my Head Start when I was a kid had a jail cell in it. It was really cool. But the library was like super catered towards young kids. So they had like all the Peanuts characters on the wall. And these are the memories I have. But I walk into the library here today and I'm immediately transported back to that library. So it's funny how like you never know when you're gonna establish a sense memory. It just happens.
Yeah,
like it just occurs. Same thing goes with the smell of celery, like chopped celery or celery salt. Always takes me back to my grandma's house because she made potato salad and she made it real celery and celery salt heavy.
Oh, okay.
So that smell it immediately makes me think of my grandma.
Well, yeah.
Nothing sexual. Nothing sexual, just so we're clear.
I didn't think so.
I know, but I felt like I need to clarify. Oh, hey, let me give you the rundown for this hour of the program. I'm just prattling on. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to replay the interview that Mike had with Bill Williams, Chavez County manager. We'll play that interview coming up here in just a few minutes. Get you up to date on everything happening in Chavez County. But hey, I wanted to remind you that Eastern New Mexico University Roswell wants to welcome in the new year. That's right. The fall classes begin at ENMU Roswell this month, and they're kicking things off with a bash with food trucks, music, a petting zoo, games, classic cars, and giveaways. It's all going down Thursday, August 24th in the Sculpture Courtyard there at 52 University Boulevard, and all are invited. It's going to be happening from 3 to 8 p.m. on Thursday, August 24th. I know it's still early, but plan ahead so that you can be ready. Because all kinds of good music, all kinds of fun for the whole family, games, classic cars, and food trucks. I'm telling you, some of the best finds in Roswell come from a food truck. You ever had birria tacos? Tacos y pita. That's a free plug, but boy howdy. You want to talk about some good birria tacos? It made my Eddy County Fair experience. 17 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A shower or thunderstorm possible in the midday and afternoon hours today. We will get some sunshine as well. A little bit of humid air available. We'll be hitting the low 100s. A few clouds and low to mid 70s for the overnight hours. Looks like we'll hit about 105 for the afternoon high on Friday and sunny. Around 107 to 110 for the highs on Saturday and Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. I just learned I don't have podcast voice. Currently 82 degrees around Roswell Way. Humidity at about 41%. Winds out of the east at about 6 miles an hour with a barometer of about 30.11 inches, or 11 if you're nasty. A dew point of 56 degrees. It's going to be ugly out there today, folks. It's going to be wet. Let's just put it that way. You're going to be moist today. I hate that word, but you will be moist. 103 for the high, mostly sunny skies, and then isolated showers and thunderstorms later in the afternoon. Winds 5 to 10, chance of rain is at 20%. 20% chance of rain continues into tonight. Isolated showers, thunderstorms before 10 p.m. now. Partly cloudy, dropping down to about 73 degrees for the overnight low. You know, room temperature. So if you got to get it done at like 2 in the morning. Friday, sunny and hot, 106 for the high, 74 for the overnight low with mostly clear skies. The good news, looks like the humidity is leaving our area and we're getting back to a dry heat. So we're not going to be like suffering like they are in like Mississippi and Alabama. Sunny and hot and 108 for your Saturday. So you're still going to suffer, just not like in Alabama. Winds out of the south 5 to 10. Mostly clear and 73 for the overnight low on Saturday night. 104 for the high on Sunday. 101 for Monday. And continuing triple digits into the foreseeable future. 104 for the high on Tuesday. And 108 for the high on Wednesday. And by the way, that was another thing that made this list of does anyone ever on Reddit is when you're writing out or spelling the word Wednesday, do you say Wednesday? I do that just because I'm in radio and you have to find fun ways to describe days. Otherwise, you're just saying like Wednesday over and over again. I call it halfway day. 19 minutes after 8 o'clock. Gonna pause, pay a couple of these bills, and after these, I'll replay that interview with Bill Williams, Chaves County manager, on A Morning Without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Dr. Keon at Carabelli Dental. Same-day smiles are what we do. My passion is helping patients chew, talk, and live with confidence. That's why I'm one of the few doctors in the U.S. who can create beautiful same-day smiles with the latest digital implant technology. This procedure is life-changing. Just ask Sean.
Hi, I'm Sean. I've been that voice that you've heard on the radio for most of my life, but I'm also a dad to 2 amazing kids. I've had a million reasons to smile, but in all my old pictures, I was never smiling. Truth is that life of improper care and being dealt a bad hand genetically left me practically with no teeth. It affected everything from the way I ate, the way I talked, and of course how I interacted with people. And that's where Dr. Keon and Carabelli stepped in. They eased my fears. They explained every step of the process in a way that I could understand, and they made me feel almost like I was part of the team. And now I can't stop smiling. I have so much more confidence, and I love looking in the mirror now. I can't explain how much of a difference Dr. Keon's dental implant process made for me.
Our team can help you find your smile too. Come see us at Carabelli Dental, 575-622-4455.
Most of the problems that people have with plants comes down to basic farm management. That means knowing what to plant and when to plant it. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. Planting at the wrong time usually leads to disappointment and heartache, sort of like your first love. But planting at the right moment puts Mother Nature on your side, and that makes growing things easier and a whole lot more fun. So before you plant anything, come to see us at Roswell Seed, or just give it a try and hope for the best. It gives me a chance to say, I told you so.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Due to extreme pressure and weather conditions, it literally rains diamonds on Neptune and Uranus. Stop snickering because I said Uranus. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Chaves County Manager Bill Williams back with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good. How are you today? So
I'm good. I'm anxiously awaiting the rain.
Me too. Don't hold your breath, though.
Won't do that.
Yeah, probably. It's like, I'm glad to see the chances, but I'm not going to, sit my watch by them or anything like that. But we'll see. Maybe. Maybe we'll get a little rain. Dude, wash your cars. That'll do it.
That'll do it every time.
If everybody can go and pick your car wash of choice, or whether you get out in the front yard and do it, whatever you do today, do it today, or over the week. Maybe odd number license plates on Monday, even on Tuesday, whatever.
Yeah,
Let's
if
do
there's
it.
a 2% chance for rain, the 2% of people who wash their cars will get their cars wet.
There you go. So
the rest of us will still suffer.
So let's bump our odds in Vegas up a little bit. Go get your cars washed. Anyway, for folks not familiar, Bill, as the Chavez County Manager, he joins us each month, and usually right around after the commission meets, and gives us highlights and the good, the bad, the ugly of what took place at the county commission meeting, and of course an update and just the pulse of what's going on in the county.
What else going on? Yeah.
So this time of year, it's a lot of. Because hence the reason normally they meet the third Thursday of the month, but during the summer, there's other meetings, other workshops and things, so it kind of messes up the calendar.
Yeah, we had National Association of County Commissioner Perry and I left, I think, last Thursday, and it goes over the weekend. They finished up on Monday, and we came back.
Okay.
So that was one reason for pushing the July meeting out, but the other one gives us an extra week to close the books.
There you go.
Because the official. The budget is technically the interim budget until the final books are closed out. We find out exactly what the last payments were, what the exact revenues were, and then we make it balance. And then they approve the actual final, which is one of the things that Annabelle and her team provided and did for us Thursday.
Good deal. So, and for folks that don't know in the financial world and everything, July is kind of January in the calendar. That's the fiscal
calendar.
And so budgets and everything wrap up in June, and then the new budgets generally start in July. That's why in the spring you see a lot of commission and departments works on how much money each department needs. They kind of do all that in the spring, finalize it here in May and June, and then do the final dotting of the I's and crossing the T's. And
right. We close out every work or every purchase order and everything at the end of the year, too, because we don't want to say, well, we have a budget here of $100 for next year for Chavez County, and then we find out we have $100 of purchase orders that are open that we stack on top.
Right.
So those are all closed and reevaluated and reopened in the new year. So,
okay.
So we make sure that we
all right,
totally close everything out, make sure everything is starting from zero, I guess you'd say, and working your way up to that
basically
real number.
If you're in your home budget, balance out the checkbook, making sure everything's the ledgers match exactly on each side, and every dollar that went out is accounted for, and every dollar coming in is accounted.
If you still have commitments to somebody for $50 and you do your budget for next month and you only have $50 to spend, there's a little problem.
Sure.
So that's what we do. We make sure that we account for the previous needs and the new needs, and make sure it all rolls in and zero, like I say, essentially start from zero, and we know exactly how much we spend each year.
It's not sexy, it's not fun, but it's the necessary business of doing, being good stewards of the money and doing what the will of the people want for the county.
Right.
So.
And they do a great job of that. Our finance department is second to none. We're really fortunate there. So.
Well, if you notice, and this is something I always like to point out, particularly in a state like New Mexico, every year you always see stuff in the news about a certain city or certain municipality having financial issues, the budget was screwed up, and then Santa Fe has to come in, swoop in, and quote, air quotes, save the day.
when usually they're the problem.
Right. It's kind of the blind leading the blind there. But my point is, you never hear Chavez County or Roswell or really any Southeast New Mexico municipality or county or anything like that really in that kind of water. Everyone's pretty fiscally sound, and I know we have a history of county commissioners, including the current ones that are sitting in the chairs right now, of just being, making sure everyone's accountable. But at the same time, it's that symbiotic relationship between the commission and the department heads, because the department heads always want to fight for the departments. But if you have an honest discussion with the commission and with, saying, hey, our budget really needs this, and luxury wise, we'd love to have this. We do XXS, but minimally we need this, and this, and so they can talk. And so when it's time for the wish list item or to upgrade something, and it's time to bite the bullet on a big purchase, we can have an open, honest discussion rather than department heads going, well, they're going to take away the money if I don't spend it all.
Right.
Therefore, I'm going to inflate my budget and keep a little insurance for myself.
Our budget process is all based on honesty. I mean, the more honest and sincere each department head is with the commissioners and with my office, the better we're going to get along, and the further they're going to proceed down the path of getting what they need and want.
Absolutely. And what the commissioners do, they really listen and be good, and don't be that where I'm going to cut your budget here. It's like, hey, if we got to do that, I'm going to put you in the room and explain so you know exactly why we're doing it. And if you got an idea on how to avoid this, I'm all ears. You know what I mean?
I wanted to bring up one thing real quick before we get too far away from you. Mentioned Santa Fe and the issues that they swoop in and help us with.
That's right.
Here's one of the things they swooped in and helped us with. First of all, we cannot pay a bill that's not from the year that it was originated. So you can't pay bills for 4 years ago. It's just not the way you do a government budget. That's one of the things that's illegal. We cannot do that.
Because that, again, opens up for someone to move money around or do something nefarious with it. Yeah.
Exactly. And so the state of New Mexico passed in the legislation something they call the Laws of 2023.
Okay.
Which is a way for them to shore up their mismanagement of the state health care system. This has been faltering for quite some time. I believe it's $115 million in the red. And so they just had the legislature pass a bill, but it doesn't change the statute. It's still illegal. It says, yes, you can send a bill out to all these people to make this thing whole. So I believe it was 32 of the 33 counties, because one of them is not in the same health care pool.
Okay.
And I could be off by that number by one or two. Doesn't matter. But we all chose to enter into a lawsuit with the state of New Mexico saying, we're not going to pay these bills. Chaves County itself was, I think it was $584,000. They came in two invoices. I believe the total was $584,000 that came in after the budget. It's very carefully timed, says you have 30 days to pay this. If you don't, we're going to basically send us a nasty letter. And then when we all fought back with this nasty letter saying that, you won't be eligible for all this stuff, then they said, oh, that was a mistake. We didn't actually mean to send it out on that. That was just a standard letter, and we inserted your name and the amount that you owe us into that letter. Please just disregard the 15-day thing. But every county in New Mexico joined in a declaratory judgment filed against the Cabinet Secretary of the General Services Division. I think the city of Roswell is $1.4 million, because this is municipalities and counties, anyone that's involved in the public government that's in the healthcare system.
Gotcha.
So anyway, they're trying to shore this up and let's just say it's okay and send them a bill and see what happens.
Change the rules to suit our needs.
They're probably still going to get their money, but they're going to have to do it, the correct way. They expect us to follow the law. And procurement.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
You can't just send us a bill and expect us to say, oh, well, it's you guys, so we're going to do it.
Sure.
So we joined in the lawsuit, like I say, with almost every other county in the state, every county that's a part of the healthcare system. So that was one of the things we did. And like I said, I didn't want to get too far away from talking about that before.
Because it is all related to exactly what we're talking about here with finances and really funding and do as I say, not as I do mentality that it seems higher forms of government love to put down on lesser forms or smaller forms of government.
So we started out our county commission meeting with a couple of really fun things. We try to do our proclamations right up front. We approve the minutes and that sort of thing. Then we go into recognition of people within our community. And we had two proclamations last Thursday that were really good. One of them was for Sally Anderson. Of course, she's lived here since the 70s when her husband was in the Artist in Residence program. Subsequently, he passed away. She married Donald Anderson, and they built that program out over the last 50 years. Everyone's aware of the Anderson Museum and the Artist in Residence program.
Beautiful facilities.
And, Sally is going to be doing some things a little bit different in her life. She's trying to get a little closer to her kids, and will be here and kind of splitting some time, So,
Gotcha.
So she's going to be coming and going. So we wanted to recognize her for all that she's done. But it's not only in the arts community. She also started the Unity Center, or was a big part of starting the Unity Center in Chaves County. She's worked with CASA and all the other entities.
A lot of
throughout
outreach
the years.
programs.
Right.
That are
And she's one
staples
of those that stays in the background, doesn't put her picture on the poster.
Most people like that are like that. This is what they do.
She's just spent a lifetime doing it. Another thing, she's a linguist. She was concerned in the early 80s, about the time that I met her, that the Navajo language was being lost. And so she went back and got her master's degree in, I'm probably not 100% correct on this, in linguistics. And then she went and traveled back and forth to Farmington area, Four Corners area, learning Navajo and learning the idiosyncrasies of that language, and assisted someone in publishing the Navajo dictionary, essentially, so that the language won't be lost. And as we all know, the World War II, the code talkers all spoke in Navajo because it's such a complex language
that no one could decipher it.
The Axis couldn't figure it out, you know. So she did that too, and we recognized her for that.
I would even inspire that she's the, like in the last couple of years, you're starting to hear things like they're doing pop culture things, movies and stuff, and recreating them in Navajo. I would argue she was part of the people that set the table to put us where we're at and that kind of
Probably
thing.
so. I mean, it's just kind of an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And she's a very fascinating lady, as we all know. So
I think
we were
the best-
honored to do that for her.
Yeah, and that's awesome to hear. But I think that's the best way to preserve stuff like that sometimes is through pop culture. I mean, if people are into it and stuff, then the Navajo language doesn't die. Someone's going to carry that and pass that baton because they love Star Wars.
And
there
is an interest now, so let's capitalize on it before we miss that opportunity.
Absolutely, I love that. So it's all good.
The other proclamation we did, we had two community leaders down at Hagerman. Of course, I grew up in Hagerman, and Lyndall Andrews was the mayor of Hagerman for approximately 12 years. He died in 2005.
Okay.
Lyndall worked his whole life. He graduated high school in Hagerman in 1951, raised his family there, had a business there, but he stepped up and was a part of a lot of different boards throughout the community, not just Hagerman, but throughout Roswell and community. He was on the ENMUR board. He was also a charter member of Character Counts for Chaves County.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, he's been around.
Hagerman's his home, but his roots spread through Chaves County.
That's correct. And he spent a lot of time and effort making sure that Hagerman was going to be there for the next 100 years or so, working on infrastructure projects and helping the ball fields get fixed so the kids will have good memories and all that. So, and he passed away in 2005. And last month, maybe a month and a half ago, his wife died. Her name was Connie Andrews.
Okay.
And she passed away, and Connie spent 16 years on the Hagerman Town Council, worked very hard. She made sure that all the things that Lyndall got started got completed.
I will say she was the spine there and
She
keep the backbone and keep it going.
did a tremendous job, and she did all this. I said it in the proclamation as a Herculean effort, because she was also raising a small family when she went back to college, and then went back to school teaching kids.
By the way,
in Dexter, she just had a full career teaching and shaping young minds and helping people get to be better people. And the whole time she was working in the background doing things. And so the Andrews family did a great job helping out the community that they grew up in. And that's what you hope everybody would do.
Sure.
But anyway, Lyndall and Connie Andrews Day is going to be August the 7th in Chaves County.
All right.
And that's because that's Miss Connie's birthday.
All right.
Mama Mayor, as she was affectionately known when Lyndall was out.
And if she had a favorite food? Like, what was it? Like, anybody know?
I'm not sure.
Because, like, in honor of that, maybe we all eat that thing that day.
That's a good idea. I will contact
enchilada fan or something. I don't know.
kids and say, hey, what should we have on the menu
to celebrate? Do we have a certain meal or a certain, that was her favorite? I think that'd be kind of cool.
But she did a wonderful thing, as did Lyndall, in our community, making sure that we all.
Unless she liked a lot of anchovies or something, then we're out.
Yeah, then we're out.
But yes, you're right. I love this, and this is what makes Chaves County and our community great. It's that side of it too. Yeah, we want to be in the now and have things successful, but but our history is our people, and the people that did things that made this county a little bit better over time, and the people before them did the same thing.
And the small towns in the valley have just as much to do with the success of our entire community as the
that's the backbone of the county.
Right.
We're a farming and ranching county still. Nobody can tell you otherwise. And farmers and ranchers don't live in the big city. That's just how it works.
That's for sure. So one of the first things we did at our commission meetings, we had a public hearing for the Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan. We've talked about this many times.
Very exciting.
ICIP.
Yes.
So we do our top projects for a 5-year period. So this would be from 2025 to 2029.
Okay.
So we look out into the future and say, okay, next year, starting next year, this would be a priority, 26 be this, 27, 28.
Like just a good rule of thumb, when legislative, sessions start here in January, and each year is a 60 or 30 day. When you hear that there's a lot of money available, those ICIP lists get very important, because that's where a lot of that money's going. When there's extra money to be had, that's where it's going.
We cannot ask for something from our legislators if it is not on our Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan, which makes sense, because if I wake up this morning, what would be cool is if we did this. It's not very well planned out. And so by doing these plans each year and seeing how they mesh, and like last year's plan might have had such and such as the number one priority. This year our priorities change. That doesn't make that project any less viable necessarily, but it's just not as important at this particular time.
We've got a greater need.
Or other funding came along that presented itself to take care of that. So it might move down, because rather than needing, for instance, for our health department, public health department that we wanted to build, that had been on our ICIP plan for probably about 6 years before we actually saw an opportunity to get funding. So
some of them just solved themselves.
So it was on there, and it was definitely something that we wanted to see happen soon. But with the dollar amount that we needed, it didn't rise to a very high priority. It was probably down about 12 or 15, somewhere around there. I would guess probably the highest it originally, until we got an influx of money from Washington. And as we've talked before, our great-grandchildren are going to be paying for this Build Back Better stuff. And so Chaves County chose to actually use that money to build back better and to provide something, a piece of infrastructure that's going to be used for the next 50 years or so.
Yeah.
So our great-grandchildren, as they make the final payment, they can maybe burn the mortgage on the health department. So that's
probably by then they'll need to update the facility. So
probably so. But the one we're in now is about 50 years old. So
it's about due.
Yeah. And if that's any reflection on how the other one's going to age, it will definitely need to be replaced in 50 years.
Sure.
But it's of course going to be designed specifically for how the Department of Health wants it. We brought them in at the very beginning. They told us this is how many rooms we need for the WIC program. This is how many rooms we need for general health. This is how many rooms we need for child health services. Those sorts of things.
Sure. Someone did some ciphering and decided based on need.
And that means we're going to have this many nurses. That means we're going to need a pharmacy of this size. We're going to need a lab. All those things that were not planned into the first building are actually planned into this. So even though the building we're in now is 50 years old, is still functioning, but not functioning well, we believe the new building will function well beyond 50 years. I'm sure it'll still need some improvements, but
technology will also change in 50 years.
Absolutely. And of course, we try to keep that in mind too.
Sure.
As far as we know, we're going to continue to use
50
internet.
years from now, they might be doing it a whole different way. Yeah.
Telekinesis, who knows?
Maybe we finally got those things in Star Trek where they just wave it over and he tells you what's wrong with you,
Yeah, a little salt shaker.
Tricorder thing or whatever it was. Yeah, that thing.
But we're trying to build with what we think is going to be the technology, and so we have room to expand for the internet capabilities and all those things within the building, which 50 years ago, of course, we didn't even have any of that in the building.
We didn't even know what internet was 50 years ago. So
and so it's kind of a toss of the dice. We don't know for sure what we're going to need, but we do it. But we have the Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan, and we go out to the public and say, here's what we think we need to focus on over the next 50 years or 5 years.
Sure.
What do you guys think? And if people have ideas or opinions on some of the things that are on our list, they come forward and they tell us.
Sure.
Yesterday's public hearing, we had zero response from the public, but I hope that that's because they think that we're doing a good job. I hope that it's not that no one cares.
People don't show up unless they're mad. That's generally how government works. So.
And of course, we try to be pretty considerate of how we spend the monies, and we don't put a lot of money in for things that are extraneous.
Sure. And I think, as a whole, I think for most part, public gets, sure, there's things that are nice to have versus things, we live in a rural area. We have our people, the people that are born and raised here, the people that call this place home, for the most part, are self-reliant, self-sufficient people. They don't live in a city where everything's at their fingertips or right away. They're used to providing for themselves or providing for their family. So I think if you have that mindset to begin with, you're going to be a little bit more understanding on, I'm not a big fan of spending money here, but I understand the need.
Right.
And so whereas someone if you have the ideology of or push a button, things appear to me, then you don't care how the sausage is
It's not going to work. Yeah. Yeah, so we have a variety of projects. So we have building projects, whether it's just remodeling, repairing buildings or the areas around the buildings, infrastructure, whether it's things for the Sheriff's Department. For instance, we took the Sheriff's Department's number one priority on the list they turned in was for a command vehicle.
Okay.
And Under Sheriff Charles Eastless was there Thursday, and he told us that they had actually done a lot of repairs to their old command vehicle, so he felt that they probably wanted to go ahead and change that.
Okay.
So,
they can milk that one for a little bit longer.
We took the number 5 priority overall for the county was the Sheriff's Department new command vehicle.
Okay.
And after Under Sheriff Eastless told us that he felt that was not as big of an issue as just getting more patrol vehicles.
Gotcha.
So we swapped those out.
Makes sense.
So we put the patrol vehicles in as number 5 for the county's list. We had to identify the top 10. I presented about what the administration thought should be about the top 15 to the commissioners. They looked it over, discussed it a little bit. We spoke with each of the facility maintenance, with the road department, with detention, with the Sheriff's Department, and kind of whittled that around a little bit, and we came up with our top 10.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I forgot to bring the top 10, but I think I can remember the top 5.
All right, David Letterman.
Okay.
Let's do it.
In the number 1 spot, we had the Chaves County Health Department building.
Okay.
And again, we're pretty well fully funded with that, with the monies that came from Washington, but still, until that project's done, we want to be sure that we keep it a high priority in case other monies come along.
Absolutely.
Somebody wants to give us money because that's avoided cost for the county, and then
there's been
we
a lot
can
of
use those funds for something else.
And there's been a lot of change and moving around and entities in and out and stuff in that part for a while now.
Right.
So it's this is good to kind of create some stability and prioritize that.
Right.
So it does make sense that they're at the top of the list there.
And the number 2, same sort of thing, is the Pecos Valley Dispatch. We've committed about 3 years ago to building a much better location for Pecos Valley Dispatch, and that affects our whole county, our whole region.
And that's a very technology-driven area, too.
It is. In fact, all the plans, the actual area, the moving of walls and the creating of offices and that probably took them about half a day to create that with the engineering department or the engineers that are working on this for us. But the electronics and making sure everything can be built the way that it needs to be built. It could have so many consoles for future use, so many consoles for current use. We will have the ability to send warrants out to the officers when they need one. They drive up, they get their warrant.
Sure.
It'll be through a kind of a vacuum tube system like you have at the bank.
Cool.
So it'll be a TV monitor so they can see exactly who they're talking to, and then they can exchange.
I like putting things in tubes and watching it shoot up stuff. That's a very satisfying thing to watch.
It's so much fun. So the paperwork and stuff will all be secure that way. So that's number 2. Number 3 is kind of one that I was just talking about, how the health department moved up from probably 12 or 15 almost overnight to a number 1 priority.
Sure.
And the number 3 priority is the Cooperative Extension Office, which is also housed in the same building that the health department is housed in currently. And it was always the plan that when one of them got fixed, we'd maybe gut the other side and rebuild it for the other one, move them over, then gut that side, move someone else in. And now we have some options. As you're aware, last month, the Chaves County Commission approved the purchase of the Eye Associates Surgical Center, which is kind of an in-holding in Chaves County. It's privately owned, but it's surrounded entirely by Chaves County property. They built that a few years ago. Their management plan changed, and so they have this large new building. They used it for about a year and a half that's for sale. So they came to us and said,
since you own all the other buildings around us,
would you be interested in purchasing this? And we said, well, let us take a look at it. We looked at it. They said, who would fit in here? We thought, well, maybe the cooperative extension. Let's bring them over and let them look at it, kind of like we did with the health department.
Sure.
Tell us what their needs of their programs are, see if we could adapt it to do that.
And by the way, just a quick plug, every resident of Chaves County should meet and talk with the extension folks at one point or time, because they're the folks that 4-H and all of that, they run that program. But anything farm and ag related with Drew at commercial or
if you want to know about pecans,
yes,
you know, it doesn't matter if you live in town or if you live in the county. There you go. Very good. I'm impressed.
But and then of course with the extension office with their medical and the diabetes and all the different education and other programs they have.
The ICANN program, a nutrition program for people, just teaching you how to cook and to eat healthy.
Yeah, if you're a resident of Chaves County, go visit them because everything they do, and 99.9% everything's free of charge. They have a few events here and there that they'll charge you $10 or $15, but for the most part, everything they do is free of charge and things like that. And so it's a great resource for folks.
And a very timely plug. Last week was the Chaves County 4-H and FFA fair.
They had the big junior livestock auction Friday and everything else.
Look at how many kids were impacted by all that.
Yeah.
And learning good things that they take into the future and provide.
Extension office was all working through that.
Oh my gosh, yes. But they did a great job with the fair. The kids all did a great job. Yeah. And now we're looking forward to the the state fair, then the Eastern New Mexico State Fair. So
yes, we do have the state fair, and then we'll be back in our neck of the woods for the Eastern here in end of September, October time.
So those kids all get 3 chances to really.
I haven't heard numbers. How'd the auction do on Friday?
I have not heard either. I was out of town on Friday, and I haven't had a chance.
Usually they're trying to beat their own record or beat, because Eddy County also is having their fair the exact same week this year.
Right.
And there is a friendly rivalry, I think, there between the different, extension and FFAs on trying to raise more money at their county fair for their kids and things like that.
Well, we have a very generous community. I'll leave it at that. I think that we probably exceeded every previous year's numbers, I'm sure.
People paid ridiculous amounts for cows and pigs, and we're so thankful to them for doing that. It really is the future and creating the next generation of New Mexicans here in southeast New Mexico.
Right.
It's awesome. Anyway.
So the Cooperative Extension Service, we took them over and let them look at the building, said if we remove these interior walls, could create offices out of these. This makes a large auditorium that could be subdivided, so on and so forth. Large kitchen area for the ICANN program, nice reception area up front. It just fit the bill very well.
Looks very welcoming.
And so they were very excited to see that, and we're supposed to close the deal on that sometime soon. You know how title work goes, and it takes a little while to get it all scheduled and done. But
government
we
is glacial.
To sign that any day now. Okay. And then we moved that building to the number 3 on the ICIP because we do need the money that we weren't planning to start on this quite so soon. As I said, previous years it was out on 28, 29.
Sure. Now let me ask you. Now it's on the ICIP and it got moved up to the list, but
to number 3. Yes.
Does that? I mean, is there plans to do anything regardless, or is it things are going to sit there until they decide that they're going to fund it?
No, we plan to move ahead. It's just that whenever we present our needs to the state legislators, we can see if they can kick in a little bit.
I just didn't know if there was a timetable, regardless of that list.
No, we would not like to buy a building and then just let it sit there and not do anything with it. We need to get started fairly quickly, and so we'll get going on it.
So you're going to see work on it regardless.
Yeah, and it may take a month or two before we get everything kind of figured out. First thing we need to do is we need to hire an architect to tell us, okay, if you can move this wall, you cannot move this wall.
Yeah. What happens when you move this wall?
Right. And give us kind of a working plan. And, of course, it's not a total design because the whole building's there. He just says, these walls come out, makes this into a large office. Let's move the door over here.
Sure.
And so that works. And let's put the divider here. Let's take this section out. Yeah. And so that'll go pretty quick and easy as far as design. And then once we get the design, then we'll either go out for bids or use a different source for the procurement. But we'll make sure we do that. So that was the number 3. The number 4 project, I believe that number 4 was repairs to the concrete in front of the administration building.
Okay.
We have a lot of small trees in the front of the building. Well, they're getting to be pretty big trees
the
now.
Roots are starting
and some of the trees have died. And because the roots are kind of heaving the concrete, we've had areas raise up and down. And for the last about 5 years, we've been grinding the concrete down to make sure there are no trip hazards. But you can only do that for so long before you encounter more problems. So we have a redesign of the front with it'll have to have new landscaping and new concrete. I believe that was number 4. And then, as we said before, I believe number 5 was the Sheriff's Department vehicles.
Very good.
And so anyway, we did a good job. And then we came back later in the commission meeting and passed the resolution to approve the 2025 to 2029 ICIP plan, which has all of the projects on it and prioritized by the entities that put them in, whether it's the volunteer fire departments, whether it's the maintenance department, detention, road, whoever. And then along with that, we went ahead and approved the top 10 list that the commissioners were gracious enough to do for us during the meeting.
Absolutely. I'm just curious. Do they limit you on how many items can be on that list? So is there a minimum or a maximum number of items, or whatever it needs to be?
Whatever it needs to be. They do need to have a minimum value of about $25,000. And in this day and age, $25,000, those are really kind of small projects.
That's like $5.
And so we try to make sure it's things such as a remodel of a building.
You want to make the juice worth the squeeze.
Complete re-roofing. That was one of the things that's on. That may be actually the number 4 priority is the courthouse roof. We replaced a portion of it over the last 2 years. There's another portion of it that's coming up on its life cycle, and the roofing material is starting to show its age. So we want to plan ahead and make sure that we get that in there.
Okay. And I guess what I'm thinking of is like we talk about what we move up to priorities, but do the things get added to the list even though they're, like you're saying, you know what? We really have a need for this. It's not needed now, but let's add it to the list and we'll put it down on the bottom somewhere.
Right.
But I mean, is that something that constantly evolves too?
And it's kind of a crystal ball thing because, like I say, we're figuring it out for the next 5 years. So you say, in the year 2025, we want to do this project. In the year 2026, we want to do this project, 27, 28, 29, so on. So as those projects develop or a new project's created, it can bump somebody to a later time or move one back. And that's why every year we redo it, because next year's ICIP will be 26 to 30.
Sure.
And some of the things that are on 25 may be gone.
Gotcha.
And some of the things that were on 29 may be on 26.
Sure. Now, the other question I have before we move on, and I just saw the time, but I'm really just curiously, so is that list fluid or does it only get changed once a year?
We change it once a year. I mean, there are provisions to change it for an emergency if a legislator were to come up and say, hey, we want to spend some money on this.
Sure.
We can add it at the last minute, but it's...
Okay. I didn't know if it was a fluid list and it's like...
It's not something we normally do. We normally have it in stone and the commissioners approve it and everything, but we can add something at the last minute if necessary.
And also, I would argue, too, or point out that this list is not designed for emergency projects. It's for bigger, long-term projects.
Exactly.
If you've got water main issues and stuff,
those are emergency.
That needs to be on a different list.
Right.
And so just to point that out, too, since we're talking.
Okay. I'll quickly go over a couple other things. How many minutes we got? 5?
About, 3, 4, or 5 here. Give or take.
Be real quick. We approved the final budget. We approved the final revenue reports and expenditure reports. To make sure that we were all solid on our numbers. We passed a resolution opposing the listing of the Dunes sagebrush lizard as an endangered species. We went through this whole battle, same as we did with the prairie chicken, which, by the way, last Monday, about a month and a half ago, the Senate, in Senate Joint Resolution number 9, said, and this is Congress who can't agree on anything, said that the lesser prairie chicken and the long-eared, nose-tailed bat or something in the Midwest should have never been listed as endangered species. These are games that they're weaponized.
Nice.
The Endangered Species Act. And so Senate Joint Resolution 9 was passed on Monday. House Joint Resolution, I believe it's 24, passed that said almost exactly the same thing.
Good.
The lesser prairie chicken should not have been listed as an endangered species. There's no science behind it. There's nothing. So that's going to help us when we
That'll strengthen the
when we
argument.
go to court.
Yeah.
We had the same issues with the sagebrush lizard in 2011, I believe, is when the lawsuits started on that.
Okay.
Same as the prairie chicken, we proved that conclusively that it should not be listed as a threatened species. And here we are back a few years later, and we're trying to list it as an endangered species. There's all kinds of issues with that, like mescalero sands, for instance, would be part of the critical habitat. There was some study that it only nests on a certain size grain of sand. And it has to be a medium grain or whatever it was. And I don't know if that's still in this go-round's information, if you want to call it that, from the Fish and Wildlife Service. But they said it's a certain size of sand. Then they went out and checked mescalero sands. Well, that's the wrong size of sand. But it's still on the list of critical habitat. They also, I was reading through trying to get up to speed on the lizard, that the lizard only lives underneath the bushes and stuff out in the sands. So do they just take the perimeter where there are bushes and things that the lizard could live in? No, they take the entire area of that.
Sure.
And same thing with oil and gas. You know, if it's cleared off, they don't nest there. They nest over in the bushes. So, but you take the entire area. You know, there's lots of reasons we disagree with this. They took particular science that they wanted, that they chose, that they created, and used it to promote an outcome. And so that's why we oppose
nothing, and they could care less about that stupid lizard. It's all about control. They could care less.
Exactly. And so we're going to fight that battle. Real quick, the support of the City of Roswell's proposal to the Reno Air Racing Association. As you're aware, the City of Roswell is putting in, the Reno Air Racing Association put out a request for proposals for places to move the Reno air races. This will be the last year that they have them in Reno. City of Roswell,
we're throwing our hat in the ring.
We're throwing our hat in the ring. Councilor Korn and Councilor Arnold.
Yeah.
They I have to remember who went on the trip.
I'm trying to think, okay.
And they said when they went on the trip, they were kind of pessimistic. Like, we'll never be able to get this in Roswell. You know, we're not the right place for this. They said after they discussed it with the people for the Reno air races, they said, oh, we're optimistic now. We actually have a very good chance of becoming one of the finalists that they will choose from. They'll choose
you have a big
4.
runway and lots of airspace. It tends to be a attractive factor.
And it's in a place that used to be an Air Force base. Same thing as here. So we have a very good chance of doing that. We wanted to support the city in their.
And this could be a real opportunity to improve amenities and everything out at that airport. This could be
throughout our entire community.
Sure.
I mean, this is a big
it
deal.
starts there and then kind of matriculates out. Yeah.
So I know we're out of time. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime, and thank you for coming in. I know your schedule's been crazy and all that, and I invite everyone. You can always go, and you're invited to be part of these meetings. Encourage you to go. If you go to the Chaves County Facebook page, they live stream, so you can go back and watch them there at your leisure as well too. Next month or this month, I should say we're in August now, or actually we will be till tomorrow.
Right.
For August, normal schedule.
Third week.
So if you want to go,
Thursday of the month,
9 a.m. There at the
9 a.m.
Commission chambers in the main
I believe
building.
the date is the 17th, but you should check that on your calendar.
It's the third Thursday, whatever that is.
Third
on the
Thursday,
calendar.
whatever
you
it
see
is.
Thursdays, go 1, 2, 3, and then be there at 9.
Perfect.
As always, thank you, Bill. We appreciate it.
you.
We'll see you next month, if not sooner. And maybe depends on what comes of that thing. We may need to sit and talk a little bit more about that Rio Air thing, because that could be a big deal.
Well, we saw a really great presentation at the EDC's annual meeting, and they really explained it to us, and it's pretty exciting stuff.
Sure.
So we're looking forward to seeing where it goes.
I would argue this could be way bigger than UFO Festival, things like that. It has the potential.
It certainly does.
So just not trying to get.
We're questioning the results of the 2020 election. Republican from Arkansas is among the former president's lead defenders.
Senator Tom Cotton told Fox News after skimming the indictment, it seems like what he called it something that you'd get from an MSNBC producer for a special on that channel. The indictment charges Trump with conspiracy to defraud the U.S. over his claims of election fraud, costing him the 2020 election. Senator Cotton notes the former president's words and actions following the election were all constitutionally protected. Trump supporters say a string of indictments indictments, this one being the third, is designed to keep the former president from reclaiming the White House in 2024. Bob Agnew reporting.
The Bank of England raising its key interest rate to a new 15-year high.
The quarter percentage point increase to 5.25% was the central bank's 14th hike in a row. There had been fears that the Bank of England would repeat its outsized half-point increase from June, but figures last month showing that inflation fell more than anticipated to 7.9% eased the pressure to act as aggressively again.
Correspondent Jeremy House. A transcript of Devon Archer's Capitol Hill testimony is out this morning. Archer, longtime friend and business partner of Hunter Biden. Congressman James Comer writes, Archer confirmed that then VP Biden was the brand. Comer says Joe Biden joined Hunter Biden and his business associates for dinners or by phone over 20 times. Now, the president has repeatedly said he never spoke to his son about Hunter's overseas business dealings. Watching Wall Street, the Dow down 125 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Several months later, and they are still trying to form a new government to lead Thailand.
The party that gained the most seats in May's vote, Move Forward, has already failed to get its leader chosen as Thailand's next prime minister. On Friday, the party that came second, Pheu Thai, was expected to put its candidate forward for the top job. It's not clear when or even whether that will now happen. Military-backed conservatives are seeking to prevent the formation of any government they see as pursuing a radical agenda. They particularly want to prevent changes to the king's role in Thai politics.
The BBC's Michael Bristow. The search for an Australian Army helicopter that crashed at sea, killing 4 people during a military drill with the United States, has found human remains, but not the black box that's crucial to explaining the cause of the tragedy. The helicopter went down July 28th. News and analysis, townhall.com. The taxman aims to go totally paperless, just a couple of years.
Most taxpayers will be able to digitally submit a slew of tax documents and other communications to the IRS next filing season, and the agency plans to go completely paperless in 2025. The processing change is expected to cut back on the $40 million per year that the agency spends storing more than 1 billion historical documents. The change is being financed by an $80 billion infusion of money for the IRS over 10 years under the Inflation Reduction Act. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen did say, however, that taxpayers will always have the choice to submit documents by paper. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
A Utah law requiring websites with pornographic material to verify the age of their users will stay in effect. A federal judge dismissing a lawsuit challenging its constitutionality. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. Let's have a listen. What does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3. Trace and Viernos of a Morning Without Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Thursday. TGI Thursday. So happy it's Thursday, if you will, because we're that much closer to another freaking weekend. I haven't really mentioned it much. I tend to downplay it, but this is technically my birthday weekend because I will be 39 on Monday of next week. Not happy about it. You reach that point where you're like, yay, it's a birthday. Hooray, I'm that much closer to 40, which means I'm technically in my early 40s already. I remember like 6 days after I turned 30. I think I've told this story before, but I was at work and I was bending over only slightly to get some copy, some printing out of a printer. I printed something off and I was trying to get it out of the printer, and while I was bent over getting that out of the printer, I coughed. When I coughed, somehow I threw my back out, and that's how I spent the first good solid week of my 30s, walking around like an 86-year-old man. I mean, it hurt. I could not stand fully up all the way. The back was just shot. I had to kind of work it back into place. And it's that sort of set off a chain reaction of just different things malfunctioning or failing inside of my body. And I have a feeling the 40s are going to be even worse for my personage. But it is as we go gently into that last year of our 30s that I welcome you to a Thursday morning without Mike Winters. I know people in their mid to late 40s are looking at me like, shut up, kid. Look, it's a perspective thing, all right? But yeah, I'm going to get there. It's just, I'm going to do it begrudgingly. I guess we'll just leave it at that. 8 minutes after 9 o'clock, I got to mention something. I feel a little slighted. Now, let me back up and explain. A couple days ago, so sometimes I tend to use things that happen as little hints that the universe doesn't want me to do a thing that I'm going to do or want to do. So I'm standing at the snack machine. I know, a great place to start it out. I haven't been carrying cash on me lately, but I had a pocket full of change, nickels included. So I decided, I'm going to go get myself a bag of Skittles out of the snack machine. So I put in my money, put in the numbers, get my mouth all set up for some Skittles, and the machine holds on. They're like hanging right there on the edge. This is a couple of days ago now, bear in mind. So my bag of Skittles is hanging right there. So, of course, if that's ever happened to you, you know the first thing is I'm going to like jostle the machine a bit. I don't want to tilt it, but, I'm going to jostle the machine a bit to see if I can shake it loose. Well, I couldn't. And I had to walk away defeated because that was the last of my change. So today, during one of our replays, I said, ooh, I have a little change in my pocket, a little jingle, jingle, jangle in there, so I'm going to run over to the snack machine and get my bag of Skittles and maybe even the bag that was behind it because I'm paying for the one, so maybe I'll get mine out. So I'm all proud and all happy walking with the jingle jangle over to the machine. I get there, and there are no Skittles left. Which means, I know Roy's just walking into the first part of this, which means that somebody got my Skittles from before and a new bag for $1.25. They got twice the Skittle bang for their buck, and I'm slighted. You missed the front part of that story, but I went the other day to the snack machine, put in my money, and it didn't let me have the thing I put in for. It held on to it. And so I was like, ooh, today I have some change, so I'm going to go grab it again. And sure enough, this is bad news. Okay, it looks like we might have some double booking on this here Thursday morning. We'll get into that here in a minute. But yeah, I am slighted because I was Skittleless on this Thursday morning. Hey, it's 10 minutes after 8 o'clock now, or 9 o'clock now, 11 minutes after 9 o'clock. We are going to sit down. We had scheduled the folks from the Roswell Community Little Theater to chit-chat with us about their upcoming play. Looks like we might also be chit-chatting with the folks from the Liberty regarding Country Music Dance Night, which is coming up this weekend. It's actually coming up tomorrow night, I believe. And the Colt Gibson Band going to be taking the stage and rocking the house, getting you up and two-step. And we'll talk about that coming up here in just a few minutes. Plus your other hourly features, which include your Wall Street business update and any other updates which cross our desk here at 106.5. At 11 minutes after 9 o'clock, we're going to pause and get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A shower or thunderstorm possible in the midday and afternoon hours today. We will get some sunshine as well. A little bit of humid air available. We'll be hitting the low 100s. A few clouds and low to mid 70s for the overnight hours. Looks like we'll hit about 105 for the afternoon high on Friday and sunny. Around 107 to 110 for the highs on Saturday and Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 86 degrees round Roswell Way. Humidity at about 33%. Winds out of the southeast at around 9 miles an hour with a barometer of 30.11 inches and a dew point of 54 degrees, just in case you plan on taking the schooner out later. Mostly sunny, then isolated showers and thunderstorms later in the afternoon, mostly after 3 p.m. I was trying to take the kids swimming today. She is not going to be happy. Mostly sunny and hot, a high of around 103 degrees. Winds out of the south 5 to 15 miles an hour, becoming southwest later in the afternoon. Your chance of precipitation stands at 20%. For tonight, isolated showers, thunderstorms continue before 9 p.m. Partly cloudy, 73 degrees for the overnight low. Winds out of the west 5 to 15 miles an hour, becoming south later in the evening. Your chance of rain is at around 20%. For your Friday, sunny. The chance of rain is gone, but the heat remains. 106 degrees for the high on Friday. Winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles an hour, becoming east in the morning. For your Friday night, mostly clear. The low around 74 degrees. Winds out of the south 10 to 15 miles an hour. Saturday, sunny and hot, 106 for the high. And for your Saturday night, mostly clear. Dropping down to a low of about 73 degrees. Sunday, 104 for the high. On my birthday, Monday, sunny skies, hot, 101 for the high. And it's just going to continue from there. 104 for the high on Tuesday, and back up to 108 degrees on your Wednesday of next week. It's hot out there, folks. Just, that's pretty much sums it up. I'm not fully sure what's happening. I'm not sure if my producer's back in the studio. He is, other host. Hey, Roy, come in here real quick. We're going to do this in real time because we have to. What's happening? What's happening, hot stuff?
Yes, Trisha Hart and Renee Puckett will join us.
Awesome.
To talk about the Little Theater.
Excellent. Trisha Hart and Renee Puckett, you said?
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. So we'll be sitting down chit-chatting with the folks from the Roswell Community Little Theater.
And it will be at the Liberty. That's why Renee Puckett is here.
I see. See, it's all coming together now. I thought we were going to talk about Country Music Dance Night, but now I understand. We'll get to that coming up here.
It's all coming together.
It's all coming. I love when a plan comes through. Hold on. It's all coming together, but we'll be back on the other side of these on a morning without Mike Winters. Stay tuned.
Your destination for health is closer than you think. You don't have to drive hours for personalized care. You can get high-quality health care right here, close to home, at Artesia General Hospital. From hip, knee, and shoulder replacements to sports injuries, general surgery, pain management, and wound care, our providers will help you get back to doing the things you love right here in Southeast New Mexico. Artesia General Hospital is here for you when you need us. To learn more about some of our key service lines, visit artesiageneral.com/closer.
Most of the problems that people have with plants comes down to basic farm management. That means knowing what to plant and when to plant it. Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company. Planting at the wrong time usually leads to disappointment and heartache, sort of like your first love. But planting at the right moment puts Mother Nature on your side, and that makes growing things easier and a whole lot more fun. So before you plant anything, come to see us at Roswell Seed, or just give it a try and hope for the best. It gives me a chance to say, I told you so.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. The catfish has over 27,000 taste buds. Do you think they prefer fried or blackened? Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 15 minutes after 9 o'clock on this Thursday morning. Joining us in studio this morning, well, soon to be joining us in studio this morning, Tricia Hart and Renee Puckett with the Roswell Community Little Theater / The Liberty. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
It has definitely been an interesting morning. I got a text this morning that Mike was a little under the weather, so I've been bouncing back and forth and doing 2 shows. I'm literally pulling off the Fonzie thing. I'm doing 2 things at the same time. I'm dating 2 morning shows simultaneously.
And we hope they never meet.
Yeah, it's going to be very awkward if they ever have run into each other at like an arcade or something, or we're getting a malt or something like that. But the busy weekend is fast approaching, and it all kicks off this Friday night at the Liberty. How are we doing this morning?
Good.
we were
Happy
just
Thursday.
saying, as we progress into the studio, and yeah, I'm obviously not Mike. I'm Sean. We're filling in here. But the play Is He Dead premieres next weekend. One week from tomorrow night at the Roswell Community Little Theater. But in preparation for that, tomorrow night we're having a little fun at the Liberty. So tell us a little bit about that.
Saturday night. Saturday night.
Again, the fill-in, they don't tell me everything. I'm sorry.
It's okay. There are things happening at the Liberty tonight and tomorrow night in addition to Saturday night, and I'll let Renee talk about those things. So the Roswell Community Little Theater has partnered with the Liberty, and we are putting on a murder mystery speakeasy, 1920s themed. Okay. How many tickets were left, Renee?
We have 29 tickets left.
Okay.
29.
So tickets still available for the festivities.
Yes. So there are 2 different purchase prices. To get in the door is $50. To get in the door and eat, it's $75. Okay. What that includes is a 360 video.
Okay.
RSR 360 has agreed to come and take some 360 video for us with some jazz music. It's going to be fun.
Very cool.
We also have a 1920s themed escape room.
Oh, okay.
All of this is included in the price. Doors open at 6. The one-act play kicks off at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
It is a murder mystery. Audience participation is encouraged. You can win prizes for best dressed, funniest dressed, or worst dressed. You can win prizes for best sleuth or funniest or most comical sleuth, I think. We'll have a live auction. We'll have a silent auction.
Okay.
There'll be specialty drinks. Daniel has outdone himself again.
I always love the specialty, the special night drinks at the Liberty. They're super creative with the drinks they put up there. It's always awesome that they're on theme, they're on point, and I can't wait to see what they pull together.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun. It's definitely going to be fun. So when you purchase your ticket, sorry, I'm on call.
No worries.
When you purchase your ticket, you will get emailed a password.
Okay.
When you get to the parking lot, it's not going to be traditional entry into the Liberty.
And see, this is what fascinates me, because there's been this weird subculture of speakeasies that has sort of resurged in the 21st century. Vegas is famous for the speakeasies. There's 4 or 5 that I'm dying to visit next time I go back. But that's the whole point of the speakeasy. It's Prohibition era, so you got to know the password.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're keeping it under wraps as far as how we're getting into the building.
Correct.
But once we get in, it's debauchery and shenanigans.
Absolutely, 100%. And Mike has graciously agreed to be our MC, so
Yes.
I'm really hoping he gets to feeling better, because I'm going to go into panic mode.
As far as I know, it's probably just some food poisoning. Mike puts... We're both morning DJs, so we put garbage into our systems, and garbage tends to come out sometimes. So
I can understand that.
He's East Coast, so it's all about crab and shrimp. So he's going to be down for the count for a minute, but he'll be back.
We're a landlocked state. Why is he doing
I know. That's what I'm saying. Your shrimp and crab probably took a flight here to get here, but I'm hoping
that is no lie. No lie.
But so that's all happening on Saturday night at the Liberty. Now, like you said, the silent auction or the live auction is going to be happening, and a silent auction in conjunction with that. Now, the live auction set, you guys have some pretty cool stuff that you're going to be auctioning off.
We do. So
awesome.
The Curtains Rising, which is what we're doing, this is what the fundraiser is our annual Curtains Rising. It's introducing our new year, and this is our 65th year for the Roswell Community Little Theater. 65th year. So the live auction will actually be each director for the upcoming plays is going to get up and give a little 3 to 5 minute brief description of what their upcoming play is all about. And we've had Bev Coots has designed these live auction baskets. They do include tickets to the show. They're very much themed towards the genre and design of the set and theme of the play. And the director will be standing up there while Mike live auctions the baskets. And they're all over $100 value.
Okay. So Mike is the auctioneer?
Mike is the auctioneer.
Oh, I wonder if he's working on his auctioneer voice. 10, give me 20, give me 25, 30, 35, 40.
If not, we're going to have you come and do it.
Because that was pretty good.
That was awesome. Yes.
I do what I can. But that's all going down Saturday night. Let's just run through what this live auction set includes. It's an original work by Mark Twain, which huge.
There's 4 different sets there.
Yes, we're going to do that.
All right.
A book of Millet's paintings, an acrylic paint set, a watercolor paint set, charcoal sketch set, a mixed media sketch book, 1 medium canvas, which any budding artist is absolutely going to appreciate, a wooden palette, a Peggy Krantz painted silk scarf, a gift certificate to Peggy Krantz's paint party at Hippie Chicks, as well as a knuckle ring, a Paris coin purse, and an Is He Dead original painting by Kayla, and all in a large French market tote.
Yes.
Very on point.
And the knuckle
brand.
ring is the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really,
Very
really
Parisian.
Cool. Absolutely. I got to tell you, a little inside baseball. I had a young lady who is involved with the play come over and help me paint my house over the weekend, Alex. And she mentioned that after a whole day of covered in paint from painting my house, that she was then going to join Bryce to start painting some set work. So I kind of know some of the set pieces that are going to be out there. I won't spoil anything, but something involving chimney sweeps. We'll leave it at that. Now, next January, the Savannah Sipping Society is going to be coming your way, and this is the next play that's going to be presented. Correct?
Well, no, that is the third.
I might be out of
the
order
third
here.
play. Yeah. So we have a necessary farce or farce of action. Should be the second play.
They mixed up my notes. Hang on. October. Oh, here you go. Farce of Habit. Yep.
Oh, yeah, Farce of Habit.
Right.
Sorry.
Farce of Habit.
Sorry, Louise.
There we go. Okay. Farce of Habit is coming your way in October. And I love wordplay. Now, this live auction gift set includes a cedar plank for cooking fish, a spatula and a sphere in the shape of a reel, a decorative string of wooden fish. I'm starting to sense a theme here. Folding fishing net, pliers, a hook remover, a fish gripper, freshwater fishing lure set, a fishing logbook, as well as some socks, fishy socks, fish-shaped soap on a rope. I'm saying the word fish a lot. Fish pins, fish air freshener, what? A fish air freshener? All right, if you want it to smell like the coastline.
I don't think it smells like fish, though.
I hope not. Unless it's like fresh cooked salmon or something. I'd be down with that.
Fresh air, maybe.
Okay. A wide brim foldable canvas hat and a fishing creel. So very on point there. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing Farce of Habit has something to do with fishing.
Takes place in a fishing cabin.
There you go. See? Never let it be said that I do not have deductive powers of reasoning. So that set's going to be available. And in addition to that, see, these are all really cool and very curated gift sets. So now, next January, the Roswell Community Theater brings you Savannah Sipping Society. Now, I'm thinking this is probably going to be a little drinky, this set.
This is one I'm actually auditioning for.
Oh, really? Okay.
Even though I will be drinking water and tea, Mom.
I understand. I've seen set drinks, and they got to keep it above board. But you don't have to. If you get this live auction gift set, we're talking honey lemon shortbread, fantastic start. 2 linen napkins, 2 bra off glasses, wink wink. Stone ground southern grits. I like that, Southern style. Sour cherry spread for the cheese. Savannah Bee Company hand cream. 2 picnic plates. A 2-piece knife set and cheese fork set. A loaf of French bread. An acacia wood cheese board. Ooh, getting charcuterie. Mm-hmm. A round of smoked Gouda and French brie. Some Colby Jack. Savannah Bee Company Tupelo honey. Nice. 1 bottle of St. Clair's. Now here's where we get good. 1 bottle of St. Clair's Membres red sweet wine, 1 bottle of Gruit Brut sparkling wine, my personal favorite of the sparkling wines, and 750 milliliters of Maker's Mark French oak soaked bourbon.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that's a party right there. You got your wine, got your cheese, got your spreads, you got your Maker's Mark. I like that. And finally, and I know I'm keeping you guys out of it, I want to make sure everybody knows what's up for grabs.
And I'll talk a little bit about silent stuff whenever you're done.
For sure. And then rounding out the season, the 65th season for the Roswell Community Little Theater, coming up this spring, one of my all-time favorites, Around the World in 80 Days. Of course, based on the Jules Verne novel. Now, if you get your hands on this set, get ready for an adventure because you're getting a handmade traveling rucksack, a foldable luggage hand truck. Nice. I like hand truck. You get the book, Around the World in 80 Days, original illustrated by Jules Verne, decorative globes, so you know where you're going, 3 luggage tags, Brazos handmade walking stick. I like a good walking stick. It kind of adds an extra layer of fancy. An RFID passport holder, a scratch-off world map, and a 2024 Rand McNally Road Atlas. Not enough people use paper maps these days.
I like paper map.
It's a bygone era thing, you know? I like to get back to it. So that's what's up for grabs in the live auction.
Yes.
Now let's talk silent.
Okay, so
Let me be silent for a second.
Do you know how to do that?
No.
I don't either. So they were talking about kids growing out of the talking phase. I don't think I ever grew out of the talking phase. So we are doing a little thing called a silver spoon.
Okay.
So we're only selling 10 silver spoons. They're $100 a piece.
Okay.
Prior to the live auction starting, you can purchase a silver spoon for $100 and you pre-select which silent auction item you want.
Okay.
Silent auction item.
Got it.
Now, those 10 spoons will be asked to come up to the front, and then Mike will draw one name out of those 10 spoons that were purchased, and you get to go get your pre-selected silent auction item for $100. So 1 in 10, you get your choice of whatever silent auction item you want for $100.
Very cool.
So I think it's kind of cool. I think it's a little fun.
Like that.
So some of the silent auction items we have a lot of liquor sets.
All right.
Some bourbons.
You got to know your demographic. That's what it comes down to.
Yes. I mean, it's the Liberty, and we love the Liberty, so we're excited to be partnering with them. Some of the other things we have is the Roswell Invaders have donated a Metallica jersey.
Ooh.
Yes. So a lot of people don't know that the Pecos League and Metallica actually have partnered in California.
Really?
So Andrew Dunn was very gracious and donated a Metallica jersey. He also donated the 2023 Pecos League Championship jersey from last year, which our local Roswell Invaders won that championship. We're out of the playoffs this year, but hey, there's always next year.
That's right.
So those
it's
are
a
two
building
of the,
year.
Exactly, building year. The Berendo Fire Department has graciously donated their time and energy where you can bid on a packet to go hang out at the fire station for the day.
Ooh, fireman for a day. I like it.
Fireman for the day, play around on the fire equipment.
It's just and I know most of our fire departments here are one story, but every kid has the dream of sliding down the fireman's pole.
Oh, and here's the coolest part. They're going to take them to school in the fire truck.
Nice. Nice.
So I think that somebody that has young children, or
absolutely.
I mean,
my kids
I don't know.
love that.
If I was in high school, I wouldn't mind a fireman taking me to school.
Fair enough. One of my
Sorry,
two kids
husband.
would love that. The other one would hate it. Like she would die. But my son, he'd be in. He'd be all in.
And I don't know if anybody knows Miss Betty Lou Cheney. She is one of my favorite all-time people at the Little Theater. She has donated a couple of estate jewelry auctions or items for our silent auction.
Nice.
Very pretty. I don't know their value sitting here in front of me, but I think they're beautiful. A couple of pieces are beautiful.
When you hear estate attached to jewelry, that usually is saying something.
So I think it's beautiful. One of them is a little purple ring that is just absolutely beautiful. The other one looks like maybe some topaz. I don't know. I'm terrible. I am not a jeweler.
Either way, fellas, it definitely, it's a get out of jail free card. Listen, I'm sorry, honey. Here you go.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a few of our items. We're also going to have door prizes throughout the night. So, if you don't win anything on the live auction or silent auction, maybe you'll be lucky with the door prizes.
That's right.
So,
what's on the menu?
So I'm
Are
going
we
to
revealing that, or?
Do you remember? I'm going to have to pull it up because I know what I ordered.
So we're going to have pecan crusted salmon is one of the options, and then we have Chardonnay chicken.
Okay.
And then we have beef kebab.
That's a tough choice.
Oh yeah.
For the 3 menu items, they're $25. They're going to be charged at the venue. When you buy your ticket, you buy your admission ticket, and then you choose your meal.
Okay.
And then the night of the event, you come eat, and then at the end, the Liberty will bill for the food.
Got it. Okay. So you're establishing the cost ahead of time, then you just get billed the night of.
Well, it's so our kitchen staff knows how many salmons, chicken, or beef to cook, and then so that's why we have it on there, just so that we can prepare.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, I'm totally excited for that pecan crusted salmon.
That sounds fantastic. That's probably going to be a winner to me. That sounds fantastic. That's definitely top notch.
Well, we should talk about how many tickets are left.
We only have 29 tickets left. They're going fast. And we're going to cut off the meals at 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So you only have till tomorrow.
So that our kitchen staff,
if you want to eat there,
can make sure that we have enough food for everyone.
Now, every ticket has a meal available, but the meal cutoff is tomorrow at 3 p.m. So if you want to buy a general admission ticket for $50, they're available after tomorrow. But if you want the meal,
Correct.
3 p.m. tomorrow is the cutoff.
Yes.
Correct.
So you got to decide now if you're going to be hungry.
Yeah, after 3 p.m., we can't guarantee that we will have dinner, enough. So.
And it's Chef Colton, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness. I had one of his ribeyes the other night, and it was to die for. So I'm really, I've had the salmon before. It's so good.
He's really talented, really good.
Excellent.
Really good food.
Well, and the Liberty is actually, they are catering our next immersive dinner at the Roswell Community Little Theater for Is He Dead? It's Parisian food. That's August 17th. So I'm kind of excited for that one. I can't say the name of the dish he's preparing. It's chicken. Parisian chicken.
Ooh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Paris chicken. Don't they call it something different over there? They call
it's
like cocoule or something like that.
Yeah, and if you know how to pronounce that stuff, I'll pull it up and you can say
I don't.
No,
I'm not going to embarrass myself on the radio. Not again, at least.
Yeah, August 17th is the immersive dinner. It's a Thursday. Tickets are $50. It does include admission into the play, and the dinner is on stage. So you get charcuterie and cocktail hour at 6:30. Doors open at 6:30, not a second sooner. It will be French onion soup with baguette.
Oh, you already got me with French onion. I watched somebody make French onion soup. Like this is what my life has become.
Trying to find it.
I watched a long form video of somebody making French onion soup, and I was enthralled. It's fascinating. That sounds amazing.
Can you read that? French onion soup and
French onion soup with baguette, poulet basque served over rice.
Yes.
Poulet basquez. I'm going to say basquez.
French chicken.
French chicken served over rice. And beautiful nails, by the way.
I wouldn't even attempt that.
Well, so the Speakeasy event this Saturday, 1920s attire is encouraged. So me and several of my girlfriends went and got 1920s nails.
I see. Okay, very cool.
So this is called a half moon manicure.
Oh, flattened. You know why, right? Because, they were,
it's
switchboard
like
operators.
It's a reverse
it is.
So I have like the moons of my cuticles are painted.
That's crazy.
And then
I like it. So are you going to go like full flapper or?
Oh no, I bought a 1920s formal.
Okay.
I did not go flapper girl. I'm a little too old for flapper girl.
I don't know. You're never too old to be a flapper girl.
I just turned 49.
You just got to have the pearls. That's all that is.
Miss Renee has the most gorgeous flapper dress. And green that's going to just make her red hair just be like va-va-voom.
I like it. I love that we're living through the roaring 20s all over again.
Yes. Well,
hopefully doesn't end in the Great Depression.
Oh my gosh, let's not talk
about to dress up for things. So.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had just gotten back from Vegas when we started planning this season's fundraiser.
So maybe you had a little speakeasy on the brain.
And I've been a member of the Liberty since they opened. I've been a member of the Liberty. My husband and I constantly go there. I think we went to 3 events last week alone. We're going to go tonight to the Lowdown Drifters, which I'm totally excited about. And I'm really wanting to go to the Country Dance Night Friday, but it's the night before my big event, so it depends on how much I get done, that if I'm not stressing or not. But I might
plug, by the way, the Country Dance Night tomorrow night at the Liberty featuring the Colt Gibson Band.
Yes.
And tickets still available at thelibertyinc.com. Should be an awesome time. I got a chance to kind of peruse that album, and that man's got some talent.
Oh, he can sing.
He can sing.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody I've showed the album has made the same thing. It's like he's aged like Kenny Rogers.
Right.
Yes.
He's got a little Kenny Rogers vibe to him, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of early on, he had them swarthy good looks, and now he just looks like a man who could hold you in his arms and take you through a nice warm evening.
I'll tell him you said so.
But hey, hold on. Let's not make that my reputation.
Big spoon or little spoon, Sean?
Actually, once little spoon, and that was kind of nice. It almost never happens, but I digress. So that's tomorrow night at the Liberty. Again, tickets available at thelibertyinc.com. But the big kickoff for Curtains Rising is Saturday night. So get your tickets. Like I said, 29 tickets still available, but the cutoff for the food is at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Totally makes sense. Now let's talk about the play, because that's coming up 1 week from this weekend. Don't talk about the play? Okay.
We can talk about the play. I don't know a lot about the play. I do know that Gina Montague is the director.
Sure.
And
the only reason I want to bring it up is because I had this thought as I was reading the rundown of the play. Basically, it's loosely based on the real-life painter.
The murder mystery is Alethea Hartwell for the murder mystery. So sorry, we were confused.
Okay.
So Is He Dead is different than the play that is happening at the Little Theater.
I'm talking about Is He Dead?
Okay. Yes, Is He Dead is Alethea Hartwell is the director.
Yes.
So it is a murder mystery that is takes place at the Lions Social Club.
Okay.
It's Irish.
Ooh.
So full of gangsters, full of loose women, and the gin flows.
A lot of debauchery. Sure.
Fee's finest. Fee's finest. Tom Collins is one of the drinks that Daniel's curated for us at the Liberty.
Ooh,
and
like
Fee's finest is drank a lot on stage by one certain actress, my best friend Jessica.
I see.
Who is very awesome. So,
but playing a bit of a lush.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Alex, who's also works for the Pigs Flavors Winery, is in the play. So it's we're all kind of a big mingled family.
I've been able to see a couple of the practices, a little bit of it anyway, and it's really funny. It's going to be really good.
I'm really looking forward. I'll be over there
really
opening
excited
night
about it.
to check it out.
There's a lot of murder.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Well, this is your only chance to see it. Is Saturday. So
yeah, there's only one time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what struck me as odd
love you to death
in the synopsis is financial struggles force a young painter to take drastic action to hilarious.
Yeah, we are getting them mixed up. So, Is He Dead is the play that opens next Friday.
They did mix it up.
So, I Love You to Death is the murder mystery that's happening Saturday, and there's only one chance to see I Love You to Death.
Right.
So, my apologies. I've not seen any of the rehearsals for Is He Dead. I do know it's adapted from a Mark Twain book, and it does take place in Paris. So my apologies. I do think that they were here before talking about it.
They were, yeah.
So sorry, Sean.
The stand-in. They didn't give me the notes ahead of time. We're getting them.
It's okay.
But it is a busy season for the Roswell Community Little Theater.
Is.
We're kicking off. A fantastic run of some great plays, and it's awesome. That you guys are bringing the big stage to small town Roswell. And I've been doing it for 65 years. I remember I tried out, and this is years, this is like a decade. This is back when they were in the old building on Virginia.
Behind Cattle Baron?
I tried out for the play Forever Plaid. Now, I was past, I went in, I learned the music, I learned how to sing Scotland the Brave, the way they did in the play. I learned Perfidia. To you, my heart goes out, Perfidia. But everybody else who tried out was like 30 years older than me, and I wouldn't have fit in, so I got passed up.
Well, you should come back out and audition for something else.
I'm very seriously considering it. Now there's going to be some opportunities this season. Sounds like I might try out for Around the World in 80 Days.
So I can also tell you that we're partnering with the Liberty this Christmas season. I think we're doing it November. I don't remember. I'm so sorry, guys. We are doing every Christmas story ever told and then some at the Liberty this Christmas season. It is a hilarious play. It is literally every Christmas story ever told and then some. And it's also directed by Alethea Hartwell. But we don't have a date set for that yet. She's been working with Jet to get that on the calendar. Okay. So that's something that
it'll be coming up.
I've been forced to watch a lot of Hallmark movies. If this event doesn't feature Mario Lopez, then it's not every Christmas story ever. I'm sorry.
Hey, I love Christmas in July, so I know it's August 3rd now. So, but anyways,
I'm sorry. I know normally the Christmas in July, and you kind of kick back and watch the movies. I can't with this heat. I can't justify it. I can't justify watching people walking through snowy streets in sweaters sipping on cocoa. It just it puts me in a state of depression.
Yes, I do prefer the cold. So,
but I Love You to Death is the presentation that's coming up this Saturday. You have one chance to check it out, and this is definitely, they put a lot of work into this, so it's definitely going to be worth your while. And like we said, the escape room, it's going to be very immersive. So dress in your 20s finery.
Yes. Now, if you're interested in the RSR 360 video, they are only there from 6 to 7.
Now, what exactly are we talking about here? Because I've seen 360 video before, and they're kind of disorienting. But help me understand.
So it's you stand in a certain area, and the video literally captures 360 of you and your friends or whatnot. I think it's a perfect opportunity, especially if you dress up in your 1920s garb. My dress has a train, so I would really like to see that in a video. So I don't know, maybe I was a little selfish whenever I booked these guys, but I'm really excited for them. It's actually a firefighter that owns the company, RSR 360.
Very cool.
That's kind of cool. Little plug for you there.
How much of a train? Because I feel like
not much.
Okay,
not much.
So
It's a little longer.
No train bearers are necessary.
No.
Okay.
No.
That's always been a thing. Is if I'm gonna see somebody in a train, I want to see some train bearers. Putting the work in.
Yes, I'm gonna hire Renee for the night to go around and fix my train.
There you go.
So, but it literally captures a 360 image of yourself. There's gonna be jazz music that's played on it. I'm not sure exactly how the video gets to people that do it, but the Little Theater will be receiving a USB card of everybody that's done the 360 video. So I'm sure there's a way to get everybody there.
That is such a cool concept. I think what I'm thinking of is those pictures you see on Facebook that move. Those throw me off. It's not that. We're talking about, like, you ever seen The Matrix? You know when they go around Neo? It's like that, but like in a flapper dress.
Or how about
or a zoot suit?
That celebrity video that they do, that they spin around and they have the celebrities do something all crazy.
Splash of color.
We're gonna play around with it before the doors open. So, and keep in mind, doors open at 6.
Yes.
So not sooner. 6 o'clock. The play does start at. I don't have my schedule in front of me. It's either 8. 7:30 or 8?
Generally, it's when doors open at 6. The show would start at 8 because you have time for funneling in and things. Cocktails.
Yeah. So you'll have the 360 video, the escape room, the silent auction, and then the live auction will start before the actors take the stage. So it's going to be a full evening. It's going to be a fun evening. It's a little bit of something for everybody. Great food at the Liberty, great drinks at the Liberty.
And that's something that I admire a lot about the Liberty is you guys pivot real well. Sometimes you're a concert hall, sometimes you're an events hall, and
comedy shows.
And you facilitate. Exactly.
Yes.
And you facilitate it all fantastically. I mean, the Liberty is one of those places that people are sleeping on. If you're an artist traveling through town, you're looking for a place to get some you do a performance. Hook up with Josh and the folks at the Liberty. They can definitely get you a great deal.
And it's so worth it to be a member of the Liberty. It's only with tax and everything, it's $70 for the year
for the whole
year to
year.
be a member. And we have events all throughout the week. We have trivia nights, steak nights,
Whiskey Wednesdays.
Yep. We have drawings for members on Tuesday nights. We've got
some of the best.
Just so many things. We have game night coming up.
And lunches
crawfish
now.
boil. We have brunches. We have so many things happening throughout the year for members.
I just got chills when you said crawfish boil.
Only $70
right
for the year. So it's really worth it.
Not to mention some fantastic Texas artists coming through here in just the next couple of weeks. You guys have some great artists coming through.
Oh, and then members can also, they can use our facility, our extra dining room in there for private events whenever they want, as long as it's available, obviously. But and then we've got
Eric Pasley going to be here in a week and a half.
I'm excited to see him.
That's great. That's awesome. So
tonight's the Lowdown Drifters. I already got my tickets. I'm going.
Lowdown Drifters. That's going to be really good tonight.
Absolutely.
So I'm really. It's a weeknight, but it's going to be such a great show.
Well, they had Andrew Duhan this past Sunday. Was that his name?
Yeah.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
We don't book bad bands.
No, of course. You guys have some great vetting there because you got Jet and people who are really plugged into the scene. So you're getting people, artists that maybe you haven't heard of before, but you will definitely be impressed by.
And Jet's impressive. Have you ever heard that man sing?
Absolutely.
He's like the modern day Johnny Cash. Like his voice is just like butter. Oh gosh, I love that man.
I had a transformative.
Sorry to his wife.
I had a transformative moment at the Liberty thanks to Sundance Head. That man could sing me the phone book, and I'd pay him to do it. Just a phenomenal artist. So yeah, there's always something going on at the Liberty.
Well, they have the LibFest coming up not before too long. There's a lot of local people in that too, which is going to be awesome.
Which are we booked up fully for that? For
the
LibFest?
LibFest?
Yes.
No, we're still selling tickets. It's $10.
But as far as bands go, we have everybody.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have our lineup
cool.
ready. It's online. But yeah, so we have the Lowdown Drifters tonight. We have country dance night tomorrow
with Colt Gibson.
And then we've got Bree Bagwell is coming.
She my girl.
Our
I'll
New
see her every
Mexico's Bree Bagwell from Las Cruces. Yep. She's amazing.
And gorgeous.
Sarah Rowe is going to be opening for her on the 11th.
Very
and
cool.
she's from Albuquerque, so that's pretty cool to be able to have local New Mexican bands, people from New Mexico.
And you're just varied artists. That's what's amazing about you guys. Is there's so much variety. You never know what you're going to get. So thelibertyinc.com is where you can go to get tickets for all of these events we've talked about, as well as find out more info on how to become a bona fide member of the Liberty. And it is definitely worth your while. For sure. So big events happening. Curtains rising on Saturday. The season kicks off 1 week from tomorrow with Is He Dead? It's all going down. And if you want more information, Roswell Theater, and that's theater with an RE.com for more info and for tickets for any one of the shows this season. Definitely a great season. You guys always put on phenomenal shows. Now, every time I talk to you guys, I have to put requests in because there's 2 plays. I know there's no chance of either one of them ever coming to Roswell, but I got to put my requests in anyways. Avenue Q.
Okay.
Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon.
There's no chance of either one of those ever playing on a Roswell stage, but I still got to try. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, I know all of the music to Avenue Q. If you need somebody to play any part in it, I could be him. I could totally sing, and you can be as loud as the hell you want when you're making love.
There you go.
But either way, just got to put my requests in.
We'll talk to Lynetta. She does our musicals. Kathy does our musicals. Georgetta does our musicals. So.
And they do a great job of acquiring scripts, too. So it's always interesting to see what the new shows of the season are going to be. So I'm excited.
Yes.
Great time. Roswell Theater with an RE.com, thelibertyinc.com for all the info that you need to know. Ladies, thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Thank you.
And break various legs.
Yes.
If you will. 13 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Let's get you up to date with the local news.
Now, your Pecos Valley News Update. I'm Jared Cirillo. On Tuesday, emergency crews responded to the report of a fire in Crooked Canyon on the Guadalupe Ranger District, Lincoln National Forest. The fire originated on National Forest land and burned about 30 acres. Responders from Eddy County, Guadalupe Ranger District, Smoky Bear Hotshots have now taken over the scene. Things have calmed down now, but crews have remained in the area these last 24 hours as they keep the edges secure and extinguish hot spots. The New Mexico Oil and Gas Association is giving away free ultimate backpacks to 5 lucky New Mexico students. This year's backpacks will include an iPad, AirPods, school supplies, and a pizza party to celebrate with your class. To enter your student in the ultimate backpack giveaway, just go to nmoga.org. The deadline is Monday, August 14th. If you need more details, email joevigil@nmoga.org. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
But it does make you wonder why Hunter Biden reportedly encouraged Devin Archer to buy that burner phone ahead of the appointment to the Burisma board and 3 days before a meeting at the Obama White House with his father, the big guy, and buy a cell phone from 7-Eleven or CVS tomorrow, and I'll do the same. Why would they need burner phones after a meeting at the White House? And it wasn't just Burisma. Why is Ukraine paying all this money? Why are they going into business with a guy whose resume is just riddled with, I was on the Amtrak board, I was on the UN Hunger board, I was a lawyer. Why does he get millions of dollars with no experience? Why does a Chinese energy company give into the pressure of intimidation of Hunter Biden? I'm sitting here with my father, blah, blah, blah. A lot will unfold here.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, straight lines seem wavy, like when looking at a door frame. For others, blurry or missing spots can make it hard to read or see loved ones' faces. Many have trouble seeing in low light, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you've been diagnosed with AMD and notice vision changes, don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Men are 6 times more likely to be struck by lightning than women. That's because men are 6 times more likely to wear a tinfoil hat in a thunderstorm. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning, 9 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Let's get you up to date with the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. A shower or thunderstorm possible in the midday and afternoon hours today. We will get some sunshine as well. A little bit of humid air available. We'll be hitting the low 100s. A few clouds and low to mid 70s for the overnight hours. Looks like we'll hit about 105 for the afternoon high on Friday and sunny. Around 107 to 110 for the highs on Saturday and Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 86 degrees or 30 degrees centigrade if you're fancy. Humidity about 33%. Wind speeds at about 9 miles an hour coming out of the southeast with a barometer of 30.11 inches and a dew point of 54 degrees. It's going to be miserable today once again, folks. I don't know what you want from me. Again, don't kill the messenger. I'm just the morning show guy. Isolated showers, thunderstorms after 3 p.m. Mostly sunny. Is going to be hot. 103 for the high. Winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles an hour, becoming southeast later in the afternoon. Again, chance of only 20% chance of rain. So knock wood. Maybe we'll get a little moisture out of it, but hopefully not before get a chance to take the kids swimming. Here's what happened. I didn't get a chance to take Rhiannon to National Night Out, and she didn't have a meltdown. That's actually unprecedented for her to not freak out when we can't go swimming. So as a deal, I said, if weather is appropriate on Thursday, we'll go swimming. So I'm a dad that's just trying to keep a promise. That's really all it is. Friday night, mostly clear. Tomorrow, sunny and hot, 106 for the high. Mostly clear for overnight, 74 for the overnight low. Sunny and hot, 108 for the high on Saturday. 74 once again for the overnight low. Pretty much mid-70s overnight when there's not sweltering sun. 108 and sunny skies for your Saturday, 104 for Sunday. And it stays this way. Coming up on August 7th, the 30th, actually technically my 40th trip around the sun. It'll be 101 degrees. Tuesday, sunny and hot with a high of 104. And for your Wednesday, 108 freaking degrees. Ugh. 7 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Let's get you up to date with your Wall Street Business Report.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Stocks lower on Wall Street at mid-morning. The market shaken by Fitch Ratings' downgrade of the U.S. government's credit rating. The Bank of England has raised its key interest rate to a fresh 15-year high, trying to bring down persistently high inflation.
The quarter percentage point increase to 5.25% was the central bank's 14th hike in a row. There had been fears that the Bank of England would repeat its outsized half-point increase from June. But figures last month showing that inflation fell more than anticipated to 7.9%. Ease the pressure to act as aggressively again.
Correspondent Jeremy House. Bud Light sales have plunged, dragging down Anheuser-Busch second quarter revenue. This amid the backlash over an ad campaign that featured transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Once again on Wall Street at mid-morning, stocks in the red. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
You've heard of a Four Seasons room, but have you heard of a Four Seasons window? Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing and Windows. It might surprise you to learn many windows are built to handle only the cold or only the heat, but not both. In Southeast New Mexico, one or the other doesn't cut it. That's why Trustmark windows are built to handle our Four Seasons climate. The scorching summers, the bone-chilling winters, and everything in between. Special glass coating blocks extreme UV rays. A stout frame prevents warping from the extreme weather changes. And insulated glass is like putting your home in a giant styrofoam cooler in the winter and keeps cold out and warmth in. And in the summer, it keeps heat out and cool in. For our Four Seasons weather, get Four Seasons windows. Call today for your no-obligation spring window assessment. 575-755-7663 or visit TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Find your path to a greater future at Eastern New Mexico University. Come experience the ENMU Advantage, which includes tuition-free higher education through the New Mexico Opportunity Scholarship, small class sizes, and professors who are here to help you succeed. ENMU has a free application and no application deadline, allowing you to apply up until the start of the fall semester in August. For more information, visit enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University. Student success. That's what we're about.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. You burn more calories sleeping than you do watching television. For the ultimate workout, fall asleep in front of the TV. Here's Mike Winters.
And I do, most evenings. 4 minutes away from 10 o'clock on a Morning Without Mike Winters. Fear not, dry them eyes, rainy faces. Mixmaster Mike will be back inside your radios tomorrow morning, back in the captain's chair, back where he belongs. I wasn't even able to work his butt groove out of the chair. Didn't have enough time. But fear not, he will be back inside your radios this coming Friday morning. He'll be back just in time to enjoy McDonald's. We'll leave it at that. But if you missed any portion of the program today, you can always go back and check it out in its entirety over at ksvptv.com. I seem to have lost my notes.
The question is his butt groove smaller than yours?
Much. But here's the thing. It's just because I'm a wide hip person. I have wide set hips. I have no keister. It drops off like a 90-degree angle. I often make the joke, I have the butt of a baby panda bear. That it just drops off. Speaking of, did you see that video that was circling the web of people thinking that, I think it was in Australia or some country, that it was a guy in a bear costume in the bear cage? Because there was a bear standing up interacting with people. Uh-huh. And it had no butt. It had the Hank Hill butt. It had no butt. But its skin was wrinkled to make it look like he was a dude in a bear costume. And it's like people are wondering, is this an actual bear, or did they put a guy in a bear costume in the cage to simulate realism? And if that's the case, how much time do you have on your hands?
Yeah, I feel like that'd be too much trouble to go through.
A lot of effort, right? But apparently a bear expert, which there are those, came out and said, no, it's an actual species of bear that just looks like its skin is hanging off of it. It's actually a common thing. Speaking of bears, you ever seen a hairless bear?
The what?
A hairless bear?
No.
Those are creepy.
I don't want to see that.
You don't want to. Oh, here's a fun one. Since we're in the animal kingdom, I have twice this week heard the term rat king. Do you know what a rat king is?
No.
Because you're about to.
I just recently heard the term suck rat.
We'll get into that in a second. So here's what a rat king is. And I just found out about this. I found out about it like on Tuesday, and then I heard a reference to it yesterday. So apparently in New York, rats get their tails tangled together. So often.
I've heard you say this, I think.
No, I've just found out about it this week. They get their tails tangled together, and then they move as like a hive mind. It's like this gathering of like 20 rats that are tangled together that just move in unison down the street. That's the creepiest thing I've ever heard in my life. Wait, you're telling me they form gangs? And the whole time, none of them want to be there. They're like screaming and stuck together. But it's just, that's the world that we live in. We are truly in the darkest timeline. Elon Musk has changed Twitter to X, and rat kings are a thing.
Okay, right.
Go look it up. You know what? After we get off the air, you're going to Google it. I know you are.
I'm just speechless right now.
Just brace yourself. It's rough. On that note, I want to say a big thanks to each and every one of you out there for sticking with us despite the lack of Mike Winters. Like I said, he'll be back inside your radios tomorrow morning. KSVPTV.com to catch the show in its entirety. And, of course, after the show, young Roy over here will have the interview we had this last hour pieced up on the Facebook page for you to check out for yourself. Travis and Sexton coming your way next on a Thursday morning on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Till next time, be seeing you.
The great one, Mark Levin, is now in Roswell on 106.